Suns and Raptors. There should be much more than that, though, in the opinion of ESPN NBA analyst Mark Jackson.
He's an incredible all-time great talent. Obviously, he's a home run hitter when it matters most, a guy you can get the basketball to, and he can carry you. So I think that every team should be on the phone putting forth their best package possible to get Kevin Durant in their uniform.
Mark Jackson on Keyshawn, J-Will, and Max. Sergio Garcia, who's committed to the Live Golf Series, told ESPN's Michael Collins he's changed his mind. He's holding off on resigning his DP World Tour membership because that would mean relinquishing his Ryder Cup eligibility.
When you're trying to hire, all that searching, screening, and interviewing can become its own job. You need Indeed, the end-to-end hiring solution that makes it easy to attract, interview, and hire quality people. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios. That's right.
And off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us, AFR, presented by Relief Windows. I'm Matt.
Love you, Matt.
Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
Muse. Who? And Mr. Toby Tom Play. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. Fired up, y'all. Saints Camp Week is here. On Wednesday, your New Orleans Saints, they are on the practice field getting ready for the 2022 football season. Mike Triplett will be here in hour 3. We'll get you Saints Camp preview. It is watch list season, so every day you're going to start getting these watch lists coming out. And today it is the Butkus Award. So next hour, we'll talk a little bit about the LSU linebacker who finds himself on the Butkus Award watch list. Oh, did you see? LSU is going to be featured in a movie. Taylor Jacobs, LSU's head of compliance, will be here in 1 hour. True story. There's going to be a movie filmed at LSU centered around LSU football with permission of the university. So they will use name and logos and all that sort of stuff. We'll get to that in an hour. Looking forward to it. Good weekend for Brian Kelly and his staff on the recruiting trail as they stay hot, this time for the class of 2024. Four-star tight end Tayvion Galloway has committed to LSU, making that announcement over the weekend via Twitter. Tayvion Galloway is the top-ranked player in Ohio for the for the class of 2024. So this is a rising junior. So he just finished his sophomore year of high school. He's going into his junior year of high school, so class of 2024. He's 6'5", 230. Let me say that again. Going into his junior year of high school, he's 6'5", 230. That's how you end up a high 4-star. That's how you end up the number 1 player in the state of Ohio. That's how you end up having offers from dang near everybody and end up as an LSU commitment this early. So as the story goes, Mike Denbrock, of course, who was at Cincinnati, was already recruiting Tayvion Galloway because he was already there in Ohio. So when Denbrock comes to LSU, of course, Brian Kelly, his long history of recruiting and developing tight ends, pretty natural fit there for Tayvion Galloway, who even told 247 Sports, quote, Coach Kelly, he uses the tight end like insanely well, and then also Coach Denbrock, how they use the tight ends as a reason as to why he made the pledge right now. So 4-star tight end Tayvion Galloway becomes the 4th commitment for LSU's 2024 class. And this is significant for a couple of reasons. I'm not going to sit here and, in July, 2 years before this kid ever even shows up on campus, I'm I'm not going to sit here and do backflips and tell you like why this is going to alter the program or anything. But I do think it's significant for a couple of reasons. First and foremost, LSU's got to reload at tight end. I mean, look at the tight end depth chart right now going into 2022. And it's a problem for the second consecutive year. Last year you had Jack Besh as a true freshman receiver taking tight end reps out of necessity. You converted Jack Mashburn, a high school quarterback who walked on. You converted him to tight end, and he was giving you meaningful snaps. Added Mason Taylor, of course, the son of former NFL great Jason Taylor. So Mason Taylor comes in as a true freshman, and then you got Nick Storrs back out of a medical retirement, which that's a little weird, isn't it? That Nick Storrs was medically retired, and apparently they cleared him, and so now he's back giving them depth. And also, if you check the depth chart, MJ Frazier is on the depth chart as well at tight end. He's a grad transfer who was playing at North Carolina A&T, which I believe is a MEAC school. So was playing in the FCS, and now as a grad transfer, comes to LSU to provide some depth. I don't know realistically what an expectation is for MJ Frazier, but it's another tight end on the roster. My point is, you don't have a great option. You don't have anybody right there among those five I just mentioned that screams NFL talent. Maybe Mason Taylor will get there. Realistically, Cole Taylor, Jack Mashburn, Nick Storrs, MJ Frazier, that's not going to happen. Mason Taylor could as he develops, but he's a true freshman, so what realistically is the expectation there? Don't know. When you look to 2023, all of a sudden you can kind of start to see how they're rebuilding that position. Remember, Mac Markway out of St. Louis is already committed, one of the top tight ends in the country, number 166 national at any position in the 247 composite. So you'll have him next year along with Mason Taylor, who's committed in this class, and potentially Cole Taylor could be back for a senior season. And then when you looked at 2024, you had Tayvion Galloway, one of the top tight ends in the country. And remember, the number one player in Louisiana for 2024 is Trey'Dez Green. Trey'Dez Green is out of East Feliciana. He's a big 6'7", 230-pound kid who's playing some receiver, projects as a tight end, but he's a five-star right now. The number one player in Louisiana for 2024 is Trey'Dez Green. So if you're able to put the fence around the state and add Trey'Dez Green on top of Galloway, and then you have Markway this year, for 2023, and you just signed Mason Taylor, now all of a sudden, you're building depth at that position, right? You're building top prospect on top prospect to where you're building a deep roster at that tight end position. And the reason why that is so important is because of how Brian Kelly uses the tight end position. I mean, Tayvion Galloway said it in the interview with 247 Sports. Coach Kelly, he uses the tight ends like insanely well. And he does. I mean, right now, the number one tight end for this upcoming draft is Michael Mayer from Notre Dame, a guy who Brian Kelly recruited and developed, and he's going to be a first-round draft pick in this next spring's draft. He's going to be the number one tight end in college football this year. During his decade plus in South Bend, Brian Kelly had 8 tight ends drafted. I'm going to put this into perspective for you, but 8 tight ends drafted since 2011. To find 8 tight ends drafted from LSU, you have to go back to 1990 and Ronnie Halliburton. What Brian Kelly produced in a little more than a decade, LSU has produced in 32 years. 8 tight ends drafted. And one of those, y'all, honestly, is Stephon Sullivan, who played receiver at LSU but was drafted as a tight end, using air quotes there. So, yes, Brian Kelly uses the tight end. He develops tight ends exceptionally well. So the fact that he has been able to carry and transition that already pretty seamlessly. Mac Markway, Tayvion Galloway, we'll see about Trey'Dez Green, what he elects to do, number one player in Louisiana for 2024. You're building at a position that Brian Kelly knows how to utilize. That's a great sign. The other thing I think is you're utilizing Mike Denbrock's relationship. Remember, Denbrock and Galloway had that relationship already in Ohio, and Denbrock was at Cincinnati. Galloway is from, I'm not even going to try to pronounce the city he's from, Chillicothe. Chillicothe? Whatever. It's from somewhere in Ohio. I'm just going to go with Ohio. So what we talked about so much with this recent recruiting class, the 2022 class, was how in very short order, Brian Kelly and his staff, namely Jamar Cain, what he's done already, they've utilized their relationships from the places they were before to put together this class of freshmen and transfers to build this 2022 roster, and they're continuing to do that in future classes as well while developing those relationships in state. So I like it. It's not so much that I think this one player is going to transform the program. I don't think we're talking about like some maybe he will be. Maybe he'll come in and be a first-round pick and a generational talent at tight end. Maybe he'll be Kyle Pitts. I don't know. But it checks a lot of the boxes of what you hope to see as Brian Kelly continues to build the program, how he wants it, and the things that we feel like we know about Kelly, where they're going to be strong, they're continuing to be strengths, and that's a really good thing. So Tayvion Galloway in the boat for the class of 2024, number one player in Ohio, and he becomes the fourth commitment for LSU for 2024. Look forward to seeing him in Baton Rouge when he gets here. All right, it's after further review. Hope you had a great weekend. I did. This was, I literally had nothing on my calendar this weekend. And that was the first time in a long time, and probably the last time for a very long time as well, that I'll have nothing on the calendar as football season is upon us. The Saints hit training camp on Wednesday. Mike Triplett will be here in hour number 3 with us today to preview Saints training camp, all the different storylines. So we'll look forward to having Mike with us. When we come back, we do have kind of an update on Alvin Kamara and some jersey swaps as well with the Saints as they get ready to hit the practice field on Wednesday. Glad to have you hanging out with us on this Monday edition of AFR presented by Relief Windows. Stick around.
AFR.
Love telling you about the Baton Rouge General Hospital expanding healthcare in the Baton Rouge area. You know where to find them online at brgeneral.org, brgeneral.org. Remember, you've got emergency care all over the city. If it's the Mid-City location where they reopened their ER during COVID, if it's the Bluebonnet campus, of course, they've got the Pennington Cancer Center there as well. The Ascension Neighborhood Hospital has their own emergency room, so emergency care is closer than ever if you live in Ascension Parish. If you're going down I-10, right by the Prairieville exit, you can see the back of that Ascension Neighborhood Hospital with the emergency room, which actually faces I-10. You can't miss it. And, of course, all of the express care locations as well. That's walk-in urgent care 7 days a week, courtesy of the Baton Rouge General Hospital. The Baton Rouge General Hospital, part of the Mayo Clinic Care Network. If it's cancer services, emergency care, the Heart and Vascular Center, you can even deliver your baby at the Baton Rouge General Hospital. brgeneral.org.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $10,000 off MSRP on all new 2022 Ram Black Widow trucks in stock. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty and free delivery. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou is going to do right by you.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
My own people call me an Uncle Tom. I play music. Been wined and dined by royalty. Trying to bring people together. All people. But regardless of all that kind of stuff, I'm still Louis Armstrong.
Here's the man you're waiting for, the king of jazz, Louis Satchmo Armstrong.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Light beer shouldn't taste like water. Miller Lite has more taste and only 96.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
I absolutely love when dudes show their personality. Y'all probably saw the story last week that some people within the Bucs organization were upset with Leonard Fournette because he was up to a reported 260 pounds. Well, over the weekend, Fournette tweeted, "Camp in 2 days. Love y'all. I'm off." And he posted a picture of, I'm just going to be very blunt and not politically correct, of a big fat man with his head, with Fournette's head superimposed on this fat man's body. So good. Like, we rarely get to see that side of Fournette, like his personality like that. I mean, it's just, even when he was at LSU, we didn't get to see much of that. And maybe some of that is just being secure in himself at this point in his life and in his career as a father, his personal life, obviously with a couple of children, young children, and having had the success, winning a Super Bowl in Tampa, playoff Lenny, game coin Lenny, all that good stuff. Maybe that's just where he's at the point where he's comfortable loosening up. But I loved it. If you didn't see the tweet, go check it out. We just haven't really seen that side of Fournette, so it was actually really pretty cool to see. Saints camp is going to begin here in a couple of days. On Wednesday, the 27th, is when the Saints open up camp. And we all do assume that Alvin Kamara will be there when the Saints open up training camp. The question that persists around Kamara, as it has all off season, is he going to be there for the season opener, or for the entirety of the season? Remember, back in February, Kamara was arrested out in Las Vegas. There were felony battery charges from an incident in a casino during Pro Bowl weekend. Many of you, I'm sure, have seen the video by now where Kamara was with a group of men who assaulted another man, which led to serious injuries, including facial fractures and injuries to his knees, head, arms. That man is pressing charges. Kamara was arrested after the Pro Bowl, and the legal developments, the court date has been pushed back twice already, and the next court date is set for August the 1st. Now, Jeremy Fowler of ESPN over the weekend reported that the NFL is still monitoring the Kamara battery case. They are monitoring legal developments leading up to the August the 1st court date, and that no firm timetable for a decision on potential discipline has been named. So I want to remind you of a couple of things, because we all became very much acquainted with this a year ago because of the Deontay Hardy DUI and then the Marshawn Lattimore arrest. And largely, we all assumed that Lattimore was going to face a 6-game suspension. Now, we went deep dive into the personal conduct policy, so I'll remind you that if there are nonviolent offenses and the player is a first-time offender, he has a good track record, then the NFL can choose to forego a suspension and just implement a fine or other types of discipline. And that's ultimately what happened with Marshawn Lattimore. Remember, it was a nonviolent offense. That was his first time ever being in trouble. And so he was not suspended. When largely we assume, remember, we all went through the offseason like, what are they going to do at cornerback for 6 games while Lattimore's out? We assumed Paulson Adebo would be there. Remember, they made the deal to bring in Bradley Roby. I mean, at the beginning of the season last year, it was not looking great for what the Saints were going to be at cornerback. But then they bring in Roby. Paulson Adebo ends up having a really good rookie year. Lattimore doesn't miss any time, and it really worked out. But it's hard for me to see that same scenario unfolding with Kamara because this is a violent crime that he was involved in, or these allegations, the charges against him are a violent crime. Now, remember, there doesn't have to be a conviction. The NFL, kind of like the NCAA, in that they can kind of do whatever they want. I mean, Roger Goodell is judge, jury, executioner in this situation. So there doesn't have to be a conviction with Alvin Kamara for Roger Goodell to levy discipline against the Saints running back. Now, it makes sense that they want to monitor what's happening and wait to see the court proceedings, how it all plays out. But the thing that's more difficult about this is that there's video. There is surveillance video of it. Now, some have mentioned that, there's police have said there's evidence of Kamara putting his hand on the victim's chest to stop him from coming into the elevator. Then the man pushed Kamara's hand away, and that's when Chris Lamons punched the man, and then the rest of the crowd sort of jumped him once he was on the ground. So to what extent Kamara was involved or responsible, that's up for debate, and that's obviously what the NFL is waiting to see. But when you are involved in that situation, and as I'll remind you, it's not a situation where there has to be a conviction for the NFL to levy discipline, it's hard for me to see Kamara getting away with nothing. Deontay Hardy, well, his was nonviolent. It was a DUI, and there's very clear verbiage in the personal conduct policy that accounts for that, which is why he missed time last year. So I'm still going to assume that Alvin Kamara is going to miss time this season. I hope sincerely that as the legal proceedings play out, it's determined that Kamara was not at fault, that he was not an instigator or an aggravator in this situation, and that ultimately he's able to play and doesn't miss any time. I would, as a fan, I would love to see that. As a fan of Kamara's, I would love to see that. Just as a person. By the way, today is Alvin Kamara's birthday, so shout out AK. Happy birthday. Hope it's a great one, and I hope a great birthday present would be, a delayed birthday present would be not having to face suspension. But this does continue to bring up, as the Saints are right here on the eve of training camp, and there's still this uncertainty around Alvin Kamara, where I'm going to maintain that at some point before the start of the season, the Saints are going to have to add another running back. You've got Kamara. You've got Mark Ingram, who is long in the tooth. We've had that conversation plenty. And, you hope that you might find depth elsewhere. The undrafted rookie free agent they signed out of Baylor, if it's Dwayne Washington who's still there, there are options. I don't know if there are great options. And if you're looking for maybe a more permanent complementary piece to Alvin Kamara, perhaps you look for that, and not even necessarily with a trade, but maybe once you start to see roster cutdowns. Could there be a player that you find somewhere on roster cutdowns? We've seen the Saints do that in the past. Taysom Hill's a great example of that. Taysom Hill was in Green Bay as a quarterback. Sean Payton scouted him, liked him. As soon as he was cut, boom, they picked him up or signed him off the practice squad. He was their guy. So I still think the Saints are going to find another running back this offseason somewhere along the way. Who that is, where that comes from, I don't know. We've gone through every scenario. And listen, it's not just plucked from the air. The Saints have actively tried to sign running backs. They've brought running backs in. We know that they made offers to running backs here this offseason as well. it's just that they've come up snake eyes. And some of the other situations have just been unlucky. Like, we talked about Tariq Cohen, and then he had the unfortunate injury while he was working out. So the Saints have essentially, through their actions, made it known that they are seeking help at the running back spot. They're just running short of options for what that may be. You hold your breath, cross your fingers, and hope that Kamara doesn't serve any suspension, is able to play all 17 games, stay healthy, and revert to the form that he's had, throughout his career. But I think you have to plan for what feels like an inevitability of him missing time this year as well. Speaking of Mark Ingram, we also learned today that Mark Ingram is going to switch jersey numbers again. I don't know if there's a record for the number of different jersey numbers worn by a player with the same team, but Ingram's got to be getting close to that. Remember, he's worn 28, 22, 14, and now we found out today that Ingram and Andy Dalton are switching numbers. So Dalton was wearing number 5. Ingram was in 14. Dalton's jersey his whole career, jersey number's been 14 his whole career. Well, now they're swapping numbers. So the Saints made this announcement today on their social media. So Dalton's going to wear 14 and Ingram's going to wear 5. So the two of them swap. So for Mark Ingram now, that's his 4th different jersey number with the Saints. 4th different number with the same team. That's got to be some type of record. And it could change again. Remember, Tyrann Mathieu, who's been wearing 32, let it be known last month that he kind of wanted to wear 5 in honor of the 5th ward where his grandmother lived. So Mark Ingram is now wearing 5. Tyrann wanted 5. How does that reconcile? I don't know. Do you wait for camp and then roster cuts and other numbers free up? I don't know. But if you're Mark Ingram and you're the Saints' all-time leading rusher, you shouldn't be waiting for camp cuts to find out what your next jersey number is going to be. You're the veteran. You're the guy that's going to be in the Saints Hall of Fame. You should be able to pick your jersey number, whichever you want, until, rookie A or B. Sorry, this is my number now. So I think there's still a lot to be determined there. And the other thing that obviously comes up is that Quan Alexander was wearing 5. Of course, when he was first signed by the Saints, he wore 58. When linebackers were able to go to a single digit, he switched from 58 to 5. Well, now Ingram's got 5. We know Quan's unsigned. If the Saints do elect to bring Quan back at some deal, he most certainly will not be wearing number 5. So Quan would be wearing a different jersey number as well. Storylines abound as the New Orleans Saints head to training camp, which opens up on Wednesday down in Metairie. All right, it's after further review. We're glad to have you hanging out with us here. We'll go around the SEC when we come back. 32 minutes from right now, Taylor Jacobs, head of LSU compliance, she will be here. As I mentioned, LSU is going to be featured in a movie, like a real-life major motion picture where LSU, Mike the Tiger, LSU football will all be featured, and the film will be shot on LSU's campus. So it is an NIL-based film where student-athletes will participate in the movie and be compensated for it. So it's a really interesting concept. We'll talk about it with LSU's head of compliance in about 32 minutes from right now. Glad you're here. Stick around. We'll go around the SEC next on AFR.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Rouse's. Man, I had a great time. So Saturday, I told you we had Rouse's was doing a rare whiskey tasting, totally complimentary. This past Saturday at the Rouse's in Denham from 10 to noon. I had Drew with me, brought him out there, and I didn't sample any, by the way, driving, and certainly had my son with me. But by the time I got there, a little before 11, so it was just after, it had been going on for about an hour, they had already had more than 300 people roll through. But Rouse's, of course, has a great whiskey selection. When you have that much, you do that much volume, you get a great allocation. So they busted open 2 different bottles of Van Winkle Lot B. That's the 12-year. They had Stag Jr. They had Thomas H. Handy, Weller 12, the Old Forester 150th anniversary. Just one of the many ways Rouse is given back to its great and loyal customers. It was a fun day out at Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. Rouse's, this feels like home.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Ochsner.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli? I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Tonight, it's 3:30 Central right now, so 3 hours from right now, LSU is going to unveil the Pistol Pete statue. I'm pretty excited about this. We've talked about it enough over the years that the LSU, I think, of late has done a really, really good job of starting to honor and recognize its great and storied past. And this is another way that they're doing it. I'll be very interested to see what pose that they have. Any takes? Muse, do you have an idea? You have a take on what you'd like to see of the Pistol Pete statue?
Layup.
A layup, okay. Paulie, do you care? Have any idea?
I was thinking kind of like the picture right there, kind of like a under the legs, like crossover look.
Yeah. So if you're not watching the picture that LSU put in the graphic of Pistol Pete statue unveiling, he's kind of making one of his patented acrobatic passes. He's basically passing under his legs from behind off the dribble. I kind of think there's this great shot of Pistol Pete, like it's like an elevated jump shot. I mean, the elbow in front of the face was such a patented part of his jump shot, and maybe we might see that. I don't know. There's a million different ways they could go with this, but we'll see it tonight. But overall, I do think that it's a very good thing that LSU has done in certainly the last decade. Just when you think about the Shaq statue, the Bob Pettit statue, the Billy Cannon statue, the Shaquille O'Neal statue. Now, I'm sorry, the Skip Bertman statue. now the Pete Maravich statue. They've commissioned a Simone Augustus statue. They've retired jerseys in football, in baseball, of course, with Eddie Furness and Todd Walker following Ben McDonald. Men's basketball here of late with Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf. I just, if you walk around Tiger Stadium, think about all the different plaques that are set up to honor the national championship teams, the SEC championship teams, the national award winners. They've essentially turned LSU's facilities into a museum of sorts. So when people of this era or any future era go to campus, they will be able to recognize the great and storied history of LSU and all these great, figures of LSU's athletic past will have their rightful spot. So, I don't know. I don't know that everybody cares about a statue or that it's that big of a deal, and maybe not, but they do become sort of focal points and centerpieces when people visit the campus, right? I mean, if you think about a football Saturday, how many people now take pictures by Billy Cannon statue right outside of the west side of Tiger Stadium? When you go to the box, how many people stand next to Skip Bertman with their arms up on the dugout rail next to Skip and take a photo? It's just going to be a centerpiece of where people congregate. So this is another part of it. I love what they're doing. So 6:30 tonight, they'll unveil the Pistol Pete statue. They've kept it under wraps as far as what the design of the cast will be, but we'll all find out together here in just a few hours. So pretty cool, pretty exciting day for LSU basketball fans. All right, it's After Further Review. We're brought to you by Shawbills Tire and Auto Service, ShawBillsTire.com. Bumper-to-bumper auto service, name brand tires at wholesale prices. My oil change notification came on today, so it looks like I'm due for a trip to Shawbills. If that's the case for you, something as small as an oil change or a tire rotation, or maybe it's something more significant you got going on, squeaking brakes or a check engine light, bring it into Shawbills. Bumper-to-bumper auto service and name brand tires at wholesale prices. Of course, if it's time to change those tires, no one will sell you the best tires on the road. Name brand tires, Michelin, BF Goodrich, Firestone, Bridgestone. No one will sell you the best name brand tires on the road for cheaper prices than Shawbills. ShawBillsTire.com, ShawBillsTire.com for more than 50 years. Shawbills, where we keep you rolling. All right, do it every day about this time. Let's go around the SEC.
Around the SEC, presented by Gulf Coast Office Products, excellence in imaging solutions. The Texas A&M Aggies.
A top 100 offensive tackle, Chase Basantis. He has committed to Texas A&M. 6'5", 290-pounder. Aggies held off a hard, strong push late from Rutgers, Michigan State, and your Fighting Tigers of LSU. Basantis, the number 62 overall prospect nationally, the number 9 offensive tackle for the class of 2023.
The Georgia Bulldogs.
Georgia got a commitment from Massachusetts safety prospect Jonel Aguero. I'm going to go with Aguero. Currently ranks as the nation's number 3 safety for 2023. He made the decision known over the weekend. Picked Georgia over Florida, Miami, and Ohio State. 6 foot, 195-pounder joins Georgia's growing class.
The Tennessee Volunteers.
Tennessee also picked up a commit. This time it's Carson Gentle. He'll go on the all-name team, at least the watch list. He's a 2024 defensive lineman from Chattanooga, committed to the Vols over Stanford, Kentucky, Ole Miss, Virginia Tech, and others. 6'3", 241, gives the Vols their second pledge for 2024, joining 5-star athlete Jonathan Eccles out of IMG.
The South Carolina Gamecocks.
Well, we had anticipated this when G.G. Jackson decommitted from North Carolina, but he did finally announce his commitment to South Carolina, simultaneously announcing he's reclassifying from 2023 to 2022. He will suit up for the Gamecocks men's basketball team this season. So Jackson's decision came just 9 days after he decommitted from UNC. He's a 6'9" prospect from the state of South Carolina. When he chose the Tar Heels, he made it known that he was going to stay in the class of 2023, but he has obviously had a change of heart with new South Carolina coach Lamont Paris there. Jackson is ranked number 6 overall in the country by ESPN, as high as number 1 in some other recruiting services.
The Florida Gators.
Florida men's basketball announced they'll face Xavier on Thanksgiving Day in the opening round of the Phil Knight Legacy event in Portland, Oregon. That'll be November the 24th on ESPN2. Two teams actually played this past year in the second round of the NIT, a game that Xavier won. Both teams, by the way, had interim head coaches, so now it'll be a couple of new coaches with Todd Golden and former and once again Xavier coach Sean Miller, who's back now in Cincinnati. The Florida-Xavier matchup is paired with Duke and Oregon State. The other teams in the field, Gonzaga, Portland State, Purdue, and West Virginia.
The Mississippi State Bulldogs.
And State's men's basketball will face Akron in an early season tournament hosted by Barstool Sports. This all from a report from John Rothstein. The game will be November the 11th at Wells Fargo Center in Philly. It's the first tournament of its kind hosted by Barstool. Toledo and UAB are the other teams participating, along with Mississippi State and Akron. This, of course, is the first year that the Bulldogs will play under Chris Jans. And there you have it. That is Around the SEC, presented by Gulf Coast Office Products. Shout out to our guy Trey Beal and our friends at Gulf Coast Office Products, online at gcopnet.com, gcopnet.com for Gulf Coast Office Products. Face-to-face sales, service after the sale, that's what you get at Gulf Coast Office Products, a national leader among Savin dealers, but they will service all different makes and models. It's Gulf Coast Office Products, gcopnet.com for Gulf Coast Office Products. You can always email the show, Matt at 1045ESPN.com. You can tweet me at Matt Moscona or jump in the Bayou Ford. Thank you. Jump in the Bayou Ford YouTube chat on the Watch 104.5 ESPN YouTube channel, or text us in the 225. It's 396-4400, 396-4400, 396-4400. Go ahead and get those text messages in. We were talking about the Saints running back situation. Warren sent an email asking if I think the Saints would re-sign Latavius Murray.
Murray, present.
Got to dust it off. I don't. I think whenever it would make some sense because of familiarity. They're familiar with the player. He's familiar with the system. But they were willing to let Latavius Murray walk a couple of years ago.
Present.
I don't know why they would bring him back now. On a veteran minimum deal, it may make some sense with maybe little or no guarantees. And that might be the play eventually. But I got to believe that the Saints are going to look to go younger. They made it known that they are looking still to add a running back. They made a play for Sony Michel, who ultimately decided to take less and sign with Miami. They brought in David Johnson for a workout, ultimately didn't sign him. So they're looking around, and they've had the option at any point to sign Latavius Murray if they wanted it.
Murray, present.
It's pretty clear they don't. This may count. They did sign Darius Victor, who wasn't like the offensive MVP or the league MVP for the USFL. So they brought him in, but Victor had been with the Saints prior and didn't make the roster, which may illustrate the chasm of talent differential between an NFL roster and something like the USFL. But if you go stand out in that league and you get that kind of run and film, then maybe it does give you a better opportunity moving forward. So they're just not done. They can't be done. They've shown you over and over and over they're still looking to add at running back. Still unknowing what's going to happen with Alvin Kamara, but we'll wait and see. And I think it'll be something that you probably look as rosters get whittled down. You're going to see good players cut that end up other places, and that may be where the Saints look to find depth. All right, it's after further review. It's literally raining right now. It reminds me every time I see rain. Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. Tell you every day, do business with someone you know, and you can even contact me directly. I put this up to you often, and a lot of you do take me up on the offer. Not only do I just endorse Hudco, but I'm a partner, and a lot of times I will help facilitate for you. If you're comfortable, you can always email me directly, matt@HudcoRoofing.com, matt@HudcoRoofing.com. I'm more than happy to help. You can text me directly on the text line, 225-396-4400. 396-4400, or just log on to HudcoRoofing.com. Roof repairs, roof replacements, from the smallest repair job to the largest commercial job you can imagine. We've done, just today, literally finished up a giant commercial TPO job while simultaneously we get calls with people who may have a small roof leak, and our repairs crew goes to caulk or tighten shingles or whatever it may be. So from the smallest repair to the largest roof replacement, we're here to help at Hudco Roofing. We tell you all the time, do business with someone you know. That's us. That's Hudco Roofing. and HUDCOroofing.com, a Louisiana company that's born in Louisiana, more than 20 years serving Louisiana, owned by Louisianians, using shingles made right here in Louisiana. That's HUDCO Roofing and HUDCOroofing.com. Do business with someone you know, HUDCO Roofing and HUDCOroofing.com. All right, it's After Further Review. Let me knock out our final break here of hour number 1. In 15 minutes from right now, LSU's head of compliance, Taylor Jacobs, will be with us, talking a little bit about the NIL movie that's coming to LSU's campus. Don't you move, it's AFR.
AFR.
Bayou Ford has $10,000 off new Ford F-150s. We have new 2021 F-150s on our lot now with $10,000 off MSRP. And all new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou is going to do right by you.
Miller Lite has more taste and only 1 more calorie than Michelob Ultra.
Gulf Coast Bank & Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank & Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Before we begin any electrical work here, we perform a home safety check that begins at your electrical panel to make sure that you and your family are safe. For all your upgrades, installations, and repairs, call Mr. Electric.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
And this year, 2022, it's time to finally treat yourself. Bring your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service. You want the latest and greatest marine technology? You want to go to the place that has not 1, but 2 NMEA-certified techs. Family-owned and operated by the Sherman family for 30 years, Front-to-Back is the answer in Baton Rouge for all of your custom boat needs. So head to front-to-backboatservice.com or find them on Facebook, Front-to-Back Boat Service.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy.
After after further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
All right, wrapping up hour number one. Thanks for being here with us. If you're watching on YouTube, we appreciate it. Do us a solid, smash that like button. Helps all the shows as we continue to grow the Watch 104.5 ESPN YouTube channel. Remember, if you want to watch any of our shows live on YouTube, that's where you go. And that's, of course, our daily shows, and then also things like Scone and Tea on Wednesdays or Whiskey and Wine after LSU games. Whenever we go live, that's where we go live on the Watch 104.5 ESPN YouTube channel. So please get there, subscribe. It's free to subscribe. You just hit the subscribe button, so when we go live, it'll pop up in your feed. All right, we will talk to LSU's head of compliance, Taylor Jacobs, in about 10 minutes from right now. NIL movie coming to LSU's campus. David Ortiz giving hope to all cheaters in baseball. That's coming up as well. Mike Triplett in hour number 3. I saw this, and I want to spend some time on it. And I will grant you that I fully recognize some of you will not care. I fully recognize it. But every now and again on this show, which does bear my name, I will take certain liberties to talk about whatever the hell I want to talk about. And I like uniforms a lot. And the NFL is allowing alternate helmets this year. And we now know that there are 14 NFL teams that will wear an alternate helmet. And I want to talk about this. Now I'm going to invite Muso here as well, because he and I we are kindred spirits when it comes to uniforms. We care probably too much about uniforms. So, no better way to bring in a conversation about the valiant cloak of armor that these gladiators will adorn on the hallowed gridiron grounds this Sunday in the National Football League. Then with the, what's it called again? Great Battle? Historic Battle? Classic Battle, yes. John Facenda. Yes. That guy's so good. Was. Okay, I guess still is. Okay, 14 teams. Let's just go in reverse order. The most recent one is the Chicago Bears, who they're going to wear an orange helmet. They're basically just reversing. Of course, their traditional blue helmet with the orange C. They're reversing it. Orange helmet with the blue C, and they're going to wear with an orange jersey. It's a total abomination. I can't believe they're actually going to wear this thing.
It's awful. I mean, it's one of the worst ones that's been reviewed.
It's
gaudy.
I would argue that it is the worst. And there's a theme that I have, which is, look, man, if you have something great, do the thing that's great. Stop doing the thing that's not great. And Paula, you can go. Do you need me to zoom in? You can go full. It's fine if you're showing multiple. The Bengals, you and I disagree on this one, I think.
Oh, yeah.
I hate the Bengals white because they're also going to go with a white jersey. It's
and
gonna
pants.
Be, and pants. It's going to be all white and black. It looks like you went from a color TV to a black and white TV. It's just stupid. I don't get it.
I think it's very aesthetically pleasing. I love that uniform, and I can't wait to see him wear it.
It's so boring.
It's not.
It's black and white.
But there's orange accent. There's orange
nothing
accent.
good in
It's
this.
perfect.
There's nothing good in this. The black and white is terrible. Like Cincinnati could have done something creative. This ain't it. Just removing the color from your uniform ain't it. The Cardinals, I think we probably agree on this one as well. The Cardinals essentially just took their helmet. They're just going to wear a black helmet. It's just black with the red Cardinal logo on it. I mean, it's not bad. It's hard to, like Louisville, it's hard to do something black that looks terrible. Unless if you're the Washington Commanders.
See, I would argue this is the worst one.
The Commanders?
Yes.
So the Commanders,
What is that?
the Commanders have a helmet just with the numeral on the side. This is going to be a black helmet with the numeral on the side and a W like right in the forehead. Right in the forehead.
But the W's so small.
It's small. It looks out of place. It's kind of stupid. Put the W on the side of the helmet if that's going to be your logo. Ditch the number thing. I mean, this isn't really that hard to figure out. All right, let's move quickly here just because we've got to for time. Because we got about a minute left. All right, Dallas is going to... We've seen Dallas wear this before. They're just a white helmet. It's good.
Love it.
Clean. Love it. Eagles, I hate the Eagles going to black uniforms. They've got a black helmet now. Bad. The Jets are doing their Jets thing. They just have a black helmet.
Terrible.
It's not good either. The Panthers are interesting. I think that this helmet looks better than their silver helmet. It's a black helmet with the blue streak and a sort of shaded Panther logo.
Yeah, I know. I like the Panthers helmet a lot.
It's a little USFL-ish,
yeah,
but I actually like it. I think it's sharp. The Saints, we've talked about it.
Ugh.
They tried way too hard with this. They could have done brilliantly, but they screwed it up. What do you think about the Texans? They're going with a red helmet with the logo.
Terrible.
Really?
I don't like it at all.
Why?
Well, it's like a metallic red, too, at least in the video they released. And it's too shiny. I don't like it.
It's not terrible, but it's going to depend on the uniform combo with what they go there. Okay, the other four, we did Cowboys. Falcons.
Love it.
I hate to say this, but Falcons, red helmet, black jersey, white pants, one of the best uniform combos in the NFL. Giants going back to their 1980s logo, and Pat the Patriot.
Oh, come on, classic.
They should actually go back to Pat the Patriot full time. Yes. 14 new helmet combos in the NFL this year. Hour 2, next.
AFR.
As we wrap up hour number 1, I want to remind you about South Point Volkswagen, southpointvw.com. New and certified pre-owned in Baton Rouge and online at southpointvw.com. If you are looking for that new vehicle, South Point Volkswagen, they may have it. If they don't have it on the lot, they can find it for you. It's so easy. Just give South Point a call or log on to the website. Let them know exactly what it is that you're looking for, and they'll get it delivered here for you. Airline just north of Highland at South Point Volkswagen. They are Louisiana's largest volume Volkswagen dealer, and they are always willing to make a deal. So log on to the website, search new, certified pre-owned, search by make, model, year, body style, price, whatever it is, narrow down your search, and you can even work out your financing online as well. southpointvw.com, southpointvw.com. Let your search begin right there. Louisiana's largest volume Volkswagen dealer, 9 different IIHS top safety picks, style, feel, performance of luxury without the cost. South Point Volkswagen. What's your direction?
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
My own people call me an Uncle Tom. I play music. Been wined and dined by royalty. Trying to bring people together. All people. But regardless of all that kind of stuff, I'm still Louis Armstrong.
Here's the man you're waiting for, the king of jazz, Louis Satchmo Armstrong.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $10,000 off MSRP on all new 2022 Ram Black Widow trucks in stock. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty and free delivery. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou is going to do right by you.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
There's nothing better than tailgating, but it can be a lot of work. So why do it yourself when you don't have to? Let Revelry Sports and Entertainment set up your luxury tailgate on campus. Order what you want and just show up to party. Book your tailgate today at revelryteam.com. Revelry Sports, the official tailgate partner of LSU Athletics.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. This just in from ESPN's Rob Domofsky. The Packers reached extensions with Coach Matt LaFleur, GM Brian Gutekunst, and Executive VP of Football Operations Russ Ball this offseason. Now the latest on Nets superstar Kevin Durant, whose trade request will soon enter a fourth week. ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski reports the Celtics are among the teams engaged in trade talks on a deal for Durant. Nets still looking for a historic haul in return for KD, potentially including multiple unprotected first-round picks. Boston does meet some of that criteria, points out Woj.
They certainly have the assets to be involved in these Kevin Durant talks. I'm told Jaylen Brown at the center of those discussions. They could potentially offer 3 unprotected first-round picks, 2 pick swaps, and then a buildup of a deal beyond Brown.
Our Adrian Wojnarowski today on Get Up. The Celtics consider all NBA forward Jason Tatum off limits in any trade talks. Much more on this story, of course, coming up on ESPN Radio throughout the night, as well as the 6 Eastern Sports Center on ESPN TV.
If you need solid hires fast, you need Indeed. The all-in-one hiring solution makes it easy to attract, interview, and hire candidates from the same place. Want to find your next great hire? Visit Indeed.com/credit.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios.
Hour 2, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, presented by Relief Windows. I'm Matt. I am sweating. Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
Yusuf. And Mr. Toby Tom Play. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. Bottom of this hour, Micah Baskerville on the Butkus Award watch list. We'll talk about the seniors' season. What is ahead of him this year in 2022 in Matt House's defense. So we got word earlier today, pretty cool, exciting project that's coming to Baton Rouge and to LSU, a full-length major motion picture called The Mascot, which is going to feature LSU students and be filmed at LSU. Taylor Jacobs, the head of compliance over at LSU, good enough to join us for a couple of minutes. Taylor, thanks for the time. How are you?
Hey, I'm great. How are you?
Doing fantastic. Okay, so how does this all come about?
How does all of the NIL stuff come about?
The movie itself, I guess.
Well, the movie is actually a project that we aren't a part of.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I actually haven't heard of much of the movie yet.
Oh, that's fascinating because I know it dropped earlier today that's going to be coming out featuring LSU players and NIL stuff. So specifically though, then with the NIL space, we're a little more than a year past NIL. Update our audience. What are some of the changes and more notable goings on right now?
Yeah, so. I mean, I think, over this last year, we've learned a lot in the NIL space. And as you mentioned, I was in compliance previously, and we all were just kind of navigating how to adapt to all of these changes. And what we've learned over the past year is that this is going to require a lot of attention to detail and a lot of resources for our student athletes to ensure that they're just successful in this space. And so we've actually created a new department just for NIL. Our NILSU department. I guess we've kind of officially made a debut in the last week or so. So it's exciting, to be able to just solely focus on the education and resources for our student athletes in this space.
At what point, Taylor, did you all as a department realize the need for a specific NIL department?
I think when everything was going to pass back in 2021, I had an idea that this was going to eventually happen. At that time, I definitely don't think we thought it would be within the year because I think we assumed it would go a little bit more slowly than it has, but I've always envisioned this would be something that would be a thing. We have taken a very holistic approach here at LSU and being intentional in educating our athletes and making sure they know that, everything they're putting forth in their NIL efforts can easily be translated into life after college and how they walk into a job interview and who they're networking with and the relationships they're building. So I think as we started our educational efforts and just got really into the weeds of helping them develop their personal brands, we quickly realized probably in January or February that we needed to shift this route.
So aside from the speed with which NIL has progressed, is there anything else that's maybe surprised you during this year and a month plus of NIL culture and world?
Wow. I think it's been surprising at how people have chosen to use NIL. And I mean that, obviously, I think we've all seen it's not supposed to be used as a recruiting inducement, but we're not stupid and we see what's happening. And it's just been interesting really to see how creative people are, which, again, I think people assumed and we all assumed when we were preparing for this that something like this might happen, but definitely not as quickly as it happened.
Yeah, that is interesting. I want to come back, though, to talk about the department that's been created in just a quick second. But while I have you here, you also mentioned the recruiting inducements. I know LSU recently has, with the state law changing, has been able to form a collective and it's catch up on a lot of things that they needed to. We've talked so much just about how different state laws have affected the way different things progressed. So how much of that has been notable, noteworthy? How much of that has changed the collective LSU? I use that term, no pun intended, but the collective LSU approach to NIL.
Now that we're able to be more involved in a facilitation role, I think is going to be a game changer for us. And what's something that a lot of institutions, I think, have said, we don't really want to get involved in that. It's too much. I think the way we're looking at it is just the ability to provide opportunity for our student athletes. Previously in the last year, if a business reached out to me and wanted to be connected with a specific individual, I wasn't able to make that connection because I couldn't facilitate. And now even that small ability to provide contact information or to make an introduction is just going to allow so much more for our athletes. So, it's just going to be a huge opportunity for this department and for the student athletes at LSU.
Taylor, would you mind elaborating? Because that's such a key point. I don't want it to be lost, where you were talking about facilitating. And I think that's something that maybe a lot of people aren't aware with. Can you just elaborate a little bit more on that process?
Yeah, so originally when the state law was first passed back in 2021, it was written into the law that we were not able as an institution to facilitate deals. And to be completely honest, I think a lot of people thought the NCAA was going to have some kind of guidance along that line as well, which is why it was in the state law. And then when the NCAA's guidance came out to be more broad, institutions said, well, wait a second, we need to be able to help. And I think that's something we've learned over the last year is that this is new to a lot of these student athletes. And as someone who's been on Instagram for a while and has lived in the space, I don't think they realize how difficult it can be to connect with a business and vice versa for businesses. It's not always easy to get someone to respond in their DMs. And so now this whole facilitation piece and why it was implemented in this new state law really is just to help with that connection tool. And I think it's going to be great. I think it's going to set us up in a place right now where we can really start creating those connections, making those introductions. And then as we navigate that and as we learn more, maybe we're in a better place to where we can go out and actually solicit deals and meet with businesses on behalf of student athletes, but as we have been very intentional the past year, we're going to continue to be intentional, but at least we now have the ability to do this from, our perspective here at LSU for the athletes.
A couple more minutes here with Taylor Jacobs, LSU compliance coordinator. You announced the formation of the NIL department. We did see last week that, of course, LSU women's basketball created a position dedicated to NIL with Jennifer Roberts taking that spot. Is there going to be is the idea that there will be someone holding a similar role in each sport?
Yeah, so Jen's been great throughout the last year. I think she is similar to me in that she's just passionate about helping her athletes. She's passionate about social media. She's familiar with the space. And I think Kim Mulkey and her staff in general just like to think ahead of the game. And so, yeah, she's going to basically be a liaison to our department and just somebody who's with their team all the time. I like to try to put myself in as many places as I can be at once, but I can't be everywhere at once, and we're still slowly building out this staff here. So she's going to serve as that liaison, and we have a few other sports who have already started putting that person in place as well. So, yes, the idea would be that I would have a liaison on each staff that I will continue to keep educated, make sure they're up to speed on any rule changes or anything that we need to be tracking on from a state legislation standpoint, as well as just incoming, opportunities and deals and things that we can be looking for as well.
Taylor, what else is significant that people need to know about the creation of the NIL department within LSU?
Yeah, so we actually, Altius Sports Partners was our educational partner in this past year. We signed with them prior to NIL launching, and now we have this new extended partnership where we're actually going to house Altius employees on campus who will work directly with me, whose sole focus will be to help this facilitation piece. So it's going to be awesome because they're going to be individuals who really get to know our athletes, get to understand their personal brands and what other brands will align with them for NIL deals. They'll be able to focus on the facilitation piece. I'll be able to continue to oversee education and managing the relationships with TAF and sports properties. So I think it's just going to help us continue to navigate this space the best way we know how.
She is Taylor Jacobs, LSU compliance coordinator, an ever-evolving landscape around NIL, and LSU is doing their part to keep up. We appreciate the time. Great to chat today. Be well.
Great to talk to you, too. Thanks for having me.
It's our pleasure. Taylor Jacobs here on After Further Review, presented by Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. I mistakenly thought we were actually going to talk about the LSU movie, but that was actually a really interesting NIL conversation with the compliance coordinator. So I very much appreciate that. The movie does look kind of cool, though, if you haven't seen it. There's going to be a movie called The Mascot. They apparently approached Georgia initially at the University of Georgia. They passed. So the film is going to be a movie about a player who gets cut from the football team as trying to walk on as a quarterback, gets cut, and then ends up becoming the mascot. And it's going to feature Mike the Tiger and LSU and Tiger Stadium and LSU logos and all that kind of stuff. They are going to have student athletes in the film. It's sort of an NIL deal as well, which is pretty cool. So appreciate Taylor Jacobs for a couple of minutes. I find, look, if you can't, and she sort of alluded to it as well, if you can't understand the importance that NIL is playing in every facet of major college athletics right now, I mean, it's the changing landscape. And as much as we may, as much as Jimbo may try to deny the fact that NIL is being used as recruiting inducements, it's happening. And people are getting, I think the word she used is creative. People are getting creative with the way that they're structuring or presenting deals to make sure that they exist, at least semantically within the letter of the law. But, I mean, it is a different time, and LSU's doing their best to keep pace. All right, it's After Further Review. David Ortiz giving hope to all the cheaters out there. We'll talk about it next. It's AFR.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Insurance Network of Louisiana. They're online at lainsurance.net, lainsurance.net. How about this one from Adam? A few weeks ago, he wrote a policy for an AFR listener named Jason. He and his wife, Courtney, had been with Liberty Mutual for about a half a decade. Home, auto, umbrella, a rent house, a lot of different properties. Coverage was good, but they, of course, are overpaying. Just the name of the game when you're with Liberty Mutual for that long a time. You're going to be overpaying. They were able to get them the same coverage and save $3,500 annually. What if you could save more than $3,000 annually on your insurance coverage? It's possible. It happens every day. Stop overpaying to be underinsured. Call Insurance Network of Louisiana. Let them shop independently for free to find you better coverage for less money. 293-0450.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has new 2021 Jeep Wranglers and Jeep Gladiators on our lot now with $5,000 off MSRP. And all new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou is going to do right by you.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
I thought we were talking about that movie. But thank you so much to Taylor Jacobs, the LSU compliance coordinator. LSU asked me on Friday, they kind of said, hey, look, we're going to have some big NIL news coming on Monday. Would you be interested in having Taylor on to talk about it? I was like, absolutely. Of course I would. That's huge. So I kept waiting for the news to drop, and I saw the story about the movie. And so I was like, oh, okay, that's what they want to. Okay, that's it. That's pretty cool. Let's talk about it. That was not at
Apparently
all.
not, though.
It was not at all what you were talking about.
I mean, that is big NIL news, though.
Yeah. Well, the teaming with Altius to create the NIL department within LSU is massive. I mean, look, last week at SEC Media Days, so much of the conversation centered around NIL for very obvious reasons. You can't talk college sports now without talking NIL. And I think for LSU, it was early. They were eager to be involved in NIL. I think they just missed the mark with their preparation and organization. Let me put it that way. Although some of it was difficult because of the state law, the lack of a collective, the inability for administrators or coaches to facilitate deals. You heard Taylor discuss that there. I think Louisiana has caught up, and in turn LSU has caught up. And I don't know how much people have talked about this, but listen, I know that you've heard me say the last year and a half was very expensive for LSU, boosters in particular. From Paul Maneri's retirement, and then paying Jay Johnson, and then paying Kim Mulkey north of $2.5 million a year, and buying out Ed Ogeron $17 million, and paying Brian Kelly and new basketball coach, and you all know the story. And I think when you go hat in hand to those same boosters and you say, hey, look, now we got to pay the players too, it's kind of like, huh? But it took seeing LSU slip, in recruiting circles and in NIL to really get some of those primary benefactors to engage. And I'll tell you that in the last month, and it certainly coincided with this recent recruiting run that LSU's been on. Not to say that's exclusively the reason why you've seen the recruiting run, but I would say, in part, maybe that's a tiebreaker, right? If your recruiting staff's doing a great job and you're one of a handful of schools, and then you can make that NIL offer or extend those opportunities, maybe that might be the deal, what seals the deal. And LSU was not playing that game. But within the last month, I would say LSU, it's certainly since the state law has changed, LSU's gotten very organized in that respect, is what I'll say, without going into particulars about names or numbers or anything like that. Suffice to say that LSU is going to be very competitive in that respect moving forward. All right, after further review, this just came down from Jim Callis. If you want to follow Jim on Twitter, from MLB.com, he's following all the signees for the baseball draft. Remember, if a player went in the top 10 rounds, they're going to sign. And Eric Raiselman was a 5th-round pick of the Yankees, and Jim Callis just tweeted that Raiselman has signed for $340,000, $340,700. That's the slot value at pick 160. So, look, Raiselman, power pitcher out of the bullpen, would have loved to have seen him back at LSU another year, but you go in round 5 to the Yankees, you put $340K in your pocket, you begin your pro career. That's well, let me be clear, after taxes and agent fees, he ain't going to get $340, but he'll have a nice 6-figure pop in the bank account and get to go begin his career and work through the farm system there with the Yankees. But as for we also saw Tucker Toman. I don't know if you saw Jim Callis' tweet, but Tucker Toman, who went in the supplemental 2nd round, signed for $2 million. I mean, he and K. Doty were a pick apart, so his slot value was in the $800K range. He signed for $2 million. He signed for more than double slot. Point being, if you see a player picked in the top 10 rounds, they're going to sign. With very rare exceptions, if a player goes in the top 10 rounds, they're going to sign, because when the scout picks up the phone to make the call to say, hey, we're going to take you here, will you accept X? It's a yes or a no. If it's yes, cool, they pick you. If it's a no, hang up, on to the next. And so if you go in the top 10 rounds where a team has committed that dollar amount in their bonus pool to you, it's already been agreed upon. So that's the case with the players that you see go in the top 10 rounds. The ones that you gotta kind of hold your breath on is when Paul Gervais goes in round 12, right? When Carter Young goes in round 17. You're waiting to see what happens with players like that, who went outside of the top 10 rounds, and if there's a deal to be made. Like Paul Gervais clearly got over slot because he was in round 12. But they gave him a number that he was comfortable taking, and now he's going to go begin his pro career. So we'll wait and see, but it's that picture of what the roster is going to look like is starting to crystallize. All right, it's after further review. We're brought to you by Michelli Weighing and Measurement, Michelli.com, Michelli.com. Locations from sea to shining sea, and our friends at Michelli are hiring. Baton Rouge, Lake Charles, the New Orleans area. They're looking for service technicians in Baton Rouge, Lake Charles, and their Harahan office. The Harahan office is also looking for shipping and receiving clerks and a service administrator. If you're looking for a career with a great family-owned company that's been in business this year celebrating 75 years, you want Michelli. Michelli.com, Michelli.com. Go to the website, hit the careers tab at the top of the page. That's how you can apply online for all these positions that are available. It's Michelli Weighing and Measurement online, Michelli.com, Michelli.com. windows.com. David Ortiz, Big Papi. Big Papi yesterday was enshrined into the National Baseball Hall of Fame there in Cooperstown. Congrats to Big Papi. Many great accomplishments in his career, obviously. He becomes just the fourth Dominican-born player to be enshrined in the Hall of Fame. 541 career homers for Ortiz. Let's see. What else? Top 5 AL MVP balloting 5 straight seasons. In 2016, in his final season, just an incredible year. 38 homers, league-leading 127 RBI. Just incredible. Joined Boston back in 2003. It's kind of incredible that a guy who was really not a very good player in Minnesota goes to Boston, ends up having a Hall of Fame career. Of all the great things that Big Papi did in his career, I would argue that tops among them is being popped for PEDs and somehow having the entire baseball world, or at least the writers, forget about it. I mean, these are the same cynical baseball writers that up until Mariano Rivera would not unanimously elect a player on the first ballot to the Hall of Fame because, hey, if Babe Ruth wasn't a unanimous Hall of Famer, nobody is, right? So some jackass didn't vote for Ken Griffey Jr. on the first ballot. Like, those are the morons we're talking about here. Yet David Ortiz, who, I mean, you look, the stats are there. He was a very pedestrian player in Minnesota. They ran him off. He goes to Boston and becomes a Hall of Famer. He had, and listen, as a Yankee fan, that was some of the most entertaining baseball that we ever saw. Where the rivalry got just ratcheted up, where you had the A-Rod element, where it looked like he was going to be in Boston. He ends up in New York. They had the fight there. Of course, Boston broke the curse in 2004. They won it again in 2007. I mean, you all know the story. It was great theater. And David Ortiz was a phenomenal player, and as clutch a hitter as you'd imagine. He's a World Series MVP. On the field, David Ortiz is undeniably, even as a designated hitter, undeniably a Hall of Fame player. But he also got busted for PEDs. And it's my hope that, and I actually don't know the answer to this, why Barry Bonds or Roger Clemens or A-Rod, they're all pariahs, and David Ortiz, it never gets mentioned that he was a juicer. But he's in the Hall of Fame. And I believe he belongs there. And so does Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens and all of them. They all deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. And I don't know if this is maybe an open door to that. There is no real great example or reason for why Ortiz's cheating has been overlooked. And you can say, oh, well, he took an over-the-counter supplement, and he's acknowledged that. Yeah, and Roger Clemens said he was injecting himself with B12. Okay, like at what point do we acknowledge what our eyes know and what we intellectually know about this era of baseball, where performance enhancer usage of PEDs was rampant throughout baseball. You had guys like Brady Anderson go from average player to 50 homers. A guy like David Ortiz who went from run out of Minnesota to Hall of Famer. It was a regular thing, and it was part of the sport. I don't care. I mean, it was wildly entertaining, and I'm good with it. And if they want to legislate performance enhancers out of the game, which it feels like they've done a good job of that, but now they're counteracting it by juicing the baseball because they want more offense. Fine. Like, just be honest with me. Like, just tell me, if you want to tighten the seams of the baseball or tighten the ball, lower the seam, okay. You want more off? Just tell me that's what you're doing. I don't care. I think largely baseball fans would feel that way. But my sincere hope, and again, I've never seen a good explanation as to why Ortiz's, allegations haven't been held against him like others have against them. But my sincere hope is that this becomes an open door for others to Cooperstown, because it should be. It absolutely should be. When guys did it on the field, they belong. And there's been so many things. You want to have a steroid wing of the Hall of Fame, whatever. You want to put an asterisk, whatever. I don't care. You want to put it on their plaque, whatever. I genuinely don't care how you do it. But a Hall of Fame without David Ortiz is incomplete. A Hall of Fame without Roger Clemens is incomplete, or Alex Rodriguez or Barry Bonds or any of the guys we've talked about. And they all should be in. So hopefully this is a step toward that whenever that might, hopefully, at some point happen. All right, it's after further review. Let me knock out a quick break. When we come back, I want to talk Micah Baskerville. Today was named to the Butkus Award watch list. One of the more intriguing players on the LSU defense, if not the entire team this year, because of what happened in spring. We're going to jump into that when we come back on AFR.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Pluckers, Nicholson, and Bluebonnet Dine-In, Carry-Out, or Delivery. 28 flavors of award-winning jumbo chicken wings tonight and every Monday. All-you-can-eat wings. So get by either Pluckers location, pay one low price, eat as many wings as you want all night long. And remember, trivia starting on Wednesday. They got the new prize wheel, which I'm pumped to tell you more about this as we get closer. But make plans to be there at Pluckers this week for trivia on Wednesday starting at 8 o'clock. Tomorrow's sports trivia. We'll tell you more about the prize wheel and how they're shaking up trivia. It's going to be a lot of fun. We'll tell you more about that as the week goes along. But remember, tonight, Monday, it's all about all-you-can-eat wings. Either location, Nicholson just south of campus or Bluebonnet right in front of the Mall of Louisiana. Dine-in, carry-out, or delivery, Uber Eats, DoorDash. But the only way you get to all-you-can-eat wings is if you dine in. So, Major League Baseball, make plans to watch every game at Pluckers. Dine in tonight, all-you-can-eat wings. Pluckers, you like our wings. We'll give you the bird.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
And this year, 2022, it's time to finally treat yourself. Bring your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service. You want the latest and greatest marine technology? You want to go to the place that has not one, but two NMEA-certified techs. Family-owned and operated by the Sherman family for 30 years, Front-to-Back is the answer in Baton Rouge for all of your custom boat needs. So head to front-to-backboatservice.com or find them on Facebook, Front-to-Back Boat Service.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
The best things in summer are unofficial.
after further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Well, all the drama's been removed. LSU is set tonight to unveil the Pistol Pete statue, and hour number one we were talking about it, and we were kind of guessing, what the design of the statue would be, and a lot of you texted me and messaged me, and apparently they were delivering the statue to LSU, driving it down the road, and people were just taking videos and pictures of it. It's all over the internet. You blew it. You blew it. Like, how do you not have it covered? I can't understand. Like, did you not think that people were going to notice, like, on the back of a flatbed truck, just this giant statue of Pete Maravich and be interested and take a picture of it?
You got to be better than that, honestly.
You got to be.
You got to be better than that.
Who is this guy that delivered it?
Yeah, like it's 2022.
Everybody's got a phone with a camera.
At least put a tarp on it.
That's to cover it.
Like,
cover it up.
They just weren't going to notice. Just go down the street. Oh, what's that? Oh, it's nothing. Don't worry. Look over here.
I mean, like 100 people have messaged me with a picture of the stupid statue now. Like, everybody has seen it. You blew it. You blew it. I love that line. It's so good. All right. But it looks awesome. I mean, spoiler alert, it's a behind-the-back pass. It looks really cool.
If you didn't see it driving down the street.
Yeah, if you didn't see it driving
if you didn't pass it on the interstate.
Or if you've not been on the internet in the last hour, it's a behind-the-back pass. But I think it looks really cool. So congrats to whoever commissioned it and did it. I think they really job well done. It's going to be pretty cool. So, and like the way it was being transported, there was the base and then the statue itself, which obviously will then be fixed on the base whenever it gets there. But still really cool. All right. Let's add further review. Appreciate y'all hanging out with us here. Monday show is brought to you by Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Mike Triplett will be here in less than an hour. We will preview Saints camp as the Saints on Wednesday will be out on the practice field for the first time here in 2022 camp, as a lot of NFL teams have already gotten started. LSU will open up camp on August the 4th, and Micah Baskerville is going to be one of the more intriguing prospects on this LSU team to watch, certainly storyline to watch throughout camp. Because Baskerville still feels like he's got a lot to prove. And that's the odd part. Micah Baskerville today was named to the Butkus Award watch list. And it is watch list season where every day a different national award releases its watch list. And I want to be very clear. You should not be emotional in any way about a watch list. The only way you should actually care about a watch list is if the guy from your team isn't on the watch list. The Butkus Award today released its watch list for the best linebacker in college football. There are 51 linebackers on this list. 12 SEC schools are represented on the Butkus Award watch list. So, listen, congrats to Micah Baskerville for being on the watch list. That's a cool honor for a senior who could have left, decided to come back for his senior season, and as he put it in a tweet whenever he announced he was returning, that he wanted to help Brian Kelly get LSU back to the standard of where the expectation is for LSU football. That sounds like a guy who's ready to be a leader, doesn't it? A guy who could have gone to the NFL and said, I'm coming back for another year. I'm helping get this thing back to where it should be to leave it better than how I found it. We're not going out like this. That is very selfless of Baskerville, which is why it was so odd that the guy who clearly was taking a leadership role, was selfless in deciding to come back to school, was your second leading tackler a year ago. Damone Clark had 135 tackles. Baskerville last year at 83 tackles, 9.5 TFLs, and 2 sacks. This dude's coming back, yet all throughout spring, Baskerville was running with the third team. He was running with the third team throughout spring. Like, it is one of the more perplexing storylines that we've seen. Now, you got a new defensive coordinator, Matt House, who works with the linebackers. He's the linebackers coach. So maybe Matt House, there's a different style or a different skill set that he's looking for. Or maybe they just really wanted him to go out and earn it. Or maybe there was something else there that we just don't know that was going on. But, Baskerville, to me, is a super important guy in this defense. I think we all roundly agree. And listen, even last week at SEC Media Days, the media kind of even validated this. The defensive line at LSU is going to be really good. B.J. Ojulari was a first-teamer. Ollie Gay was a second-teamer. Mason Smith was a third-teamer. That's not even counting guys who were really high on, like Jaquelin Roy and Jacobian Guillory, some of the young guys like Savion Jones. LSU, I think the defensive line is going to be really good. And in the secondary, you got a lot of guys who have played. It's just they all played at different places. So you got to get Brooks and Fouché and Seven Banks and Mekhi Gardner and Jark Bernard-Converse. You just got to get all these guys who have played a bunch, just at different places, to gel and play together. But you got guys who played. Linebacker is fascinating because really, Baskerville's it. Damone Clark and his 135 tackles are gone to the NFL. Damone Clark returns. After Damone Clark, Mike Jones last year had 34 tackles. Greg Penn had 11. Those are the two guys who were primarily running with the first team in spring, Greg Penn and Mike Jones. I mean, those two combined last year for 45 tackles. That's half of what Baskerville had. By a mile, your most experienced, accomplished veteran dude returning was running third team in spring. So he's got a lot clearly to prove in fall camp. And I don't know, y'all. I don't know if there was I'm spitballing. I don't know. Academic issues, something going on. I don't know. But Baskerville projects as the most obvious guy to start in the middle of your defense, and he was having to earn it in camp behind a couple of guys who hadn't played a bunch. Baskerville was on this show back in January. So after Brian Kelly had been hired, after he'd made the decision to return, but before spring ball, and here's what Baskerville said about waiting his turn at LSU.
We were actually stacked in the inside linebacker with Devin White, Pat Queen, Jacob Phillips. So, learning from them guys, it really helped me. They were in my corner. I had other guys like Sadiq Charles that were, talking to me, you straight, when it's your time, you're going to take over. So, I really believed in that, and now it's, I feel like it's that time.
It is his time. Matt House, your defensive coordinator, is also your linebackers coach, and maybe he's just making him earn it right now. But that is going to be – we're all going to be watching the quarterbacks. We're obviously going to be watching all the defensive backs to see how that shakes out. We clearly want to see who the starting five are going to be on the offensive line because it feels like there's 5 jobs up for grabs. I mean, the most solid starter that we feel is Will Campbell at left tackle, right? That's the true freshman. Every other job feels like it's up for grabs. So there's a lot that we're going to be interested in. You need to put Baskerville on the list as well if he can win a starting job there in the middle of this defense. And you got to get great middle linebacker play to have a great defense. I mean, just look at the best teams in LSU history. Go back to 2019. Your leading tackler that year was Jacob Phillips. Had 113 tackles. One of the quietest 113 tackle seasons you'll ever see. But the dude was a stud. He was a tackling machine in the middle of your defense. 2011, you had Kevin Minter. Now, Tyron, Eric Reed, Brandon Taylor were 1, 2, 3 leading tacklers that season. It's just the way that Chiefs set up that defense. But Kevin Minter was awesome in 2011, and he was an All-American in 2012. You go back to 2007, Ollie Highsmith led your team in tackles with 107. I mean, your best teams, your championship teams, had great middle linebackers. That's not even counting guys like Kendall Beckwith in 2016 or Devin White in 17 and 18. I mean, you all know the list. You can go back to Brady James in 2001 and 2002. But you've got to have – it's just like in baseball. Catcher, shortstop, center fielder, right up the middle. Same in football. Nose tackle, middle linebacker, safety. You got to be good up the middle, and you got to have a great middle linebacker. And I will be really interested in camp to see if Micah Baskerville can emerge and be that guy. Or if in the year, by his own acknowledgement, it's his turn, if he gets passed up by Mike Jones and Greg Penn, other dudes who have tried to emerge amid this opportunity under Matt House. LSU, August the 4th, they'll be on the practice field, so we are just a little more than a week away. All right, it's after further review. We'll knock out a quick break. When we come back, you shall have Tigers and the Pros. Don't you move, it's AFR.
AFR.
Man, it happened last week. That awful storm that rolled through on Friday. I'm doing Morning Scone live and my power goes out. Couldn't have planned it any better. I'm doing Morning Scone, power goes out while I have a live stream rolling, and in less than 60 seconds, my Generac whole home generator from Schutz Electric powered right on. Got to watch it real time, live on a stream happen. It's incredible. Power goes out, your Generac from Schutz Electric goes to work. I could not recommend Schutz Electric any more highly than I already do. People have always said, oh, you'll love it. It'll be the greatest investment you ever make. I'm already a believer. CESofLA.com, CESofLA.com. Request that estimate. You will be floored at how affordable a whole home generator is. They also have financing options available, and you will love the customer service from Schutz. They handle everything. Permitting, communication with the electric company, all of it. Schutz Electric. CESofLA.com.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust poll of the day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, Hunt, and Hill, the early line. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the poll of the day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Bayou Ford has $10,000 off new Ford F-150s. We have new 2021 F-150s on our lot now with $10,000 off MSRP. And all new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou is going to do right by you.
Le posso offrire un caffè? Andiamo insieme da me, non c'è.
Call Mr. Electric today for electrical repairs, upgrades, and installations.
Vizzy, the first hard seltzer with antioxidant vitamin C. It just hits different. Vizzy, step up your seltzer game.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
All right, wrapping up hour number 2. Muso has Tigers in the pros.
Tigers in the pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now. Presented by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, where Baton Rouge gets engaged.
Stop me if you've heard this before, but Mondo Duplantis broke his own pole vault record again.
Stop it.
World record.
I've already heard this before.
You've actually heard this 5 times before.
Then stop.
Because this is
I've
now
heard it
his
already.
6th world record. 6.21 meters. Won gold at the World Athletic Championships. That's 20.37 feet. Now owns the 6th highest vaults in world history. He's 22.
I still don't like that he competes for Sweden.
Well, you just have to get over that by now.
I won't get over that.
And you need to.
No, I won't.
He's an LSU guy.
He was born in Lafayette, raised here.
He still bleeds purple and gold. He's just really rich now.
Don't care. I just have a problem with it.
Okay.
I get it. It's my problem, but I own it.
Okay.
I don't get why you wouldn't compete for the U.S. You're a U.S. citizen. You were born here. You lived your whole life here.
In addition to the 6 world records, he has a 2020 gold medal from Tokyo and the World Indoor Championships as well from this year, where he also set a world record, if you were curious.
Pretty awesome. Should be doing it for the U.S.
Alex Lang yesterday, not his best. 2/3 of an inning, gave up 3 hits and 2 earned runs. Did strike out the 2 batters he, got out. 28 pitches, 17 strikes. The ERA still sub-3 though for Lang. Josh Smith yesterday. Josh Smith was 1 for 5 with an RBI. That's great. But what I really want to talk about is the 2 insane catches he made this weekend. One of them in Oakland playing left field, which, yeah, he can play left field now, too. If you don't know the park at Oakland, it's just massive. The foul territory is ridiculous. And he ran from straightaway left all the way to the fence in foul territory with a sliding catch. It was fantastic. And yesterday, back at third base, made a great running play over his shoulder into foul territory, flashing in the leather. Josh Smith.
He's good.
He's not bad, that's for sure.
Got off the schneid, too. He had like an 0 for 19 stretch. Finally got a knock.
Hey, it happens. Look, it's going to happen sometimes. Austin Nola yesterday was 2 for 5 for the Padres in their loss to the Mets. Both of them singles did drive in his 26th run of the season.
Yeah, it was Sunday Night Baseball. I'll watch that.
Hey, how about that? Then you have Alex Bregman, who's just been on a tear. No.
I was just habit at that point. I mean,
but he didn't go there.
Thought we're going to go. Yeah, I mean, just you kept rolling through Catholic High, guys.
Well, there's
just
only 2.
Assumed there was going to be more.
There's only 2. But Bregman was 1 for 5. 1 for 5 yesterday. He it was a single. It was a double. His 22nd of the year. He also scored a run off of that double. But to just further demonstrate the tear he's been on, Chandler Roan from the Houston Chronicle. Since June 15th, Bregman is hitting .281 with 8 doubles and 6 home runs. Here's the real impressive thing.
Heating up.
He's walked 18 times and struck out 19. He has almost as many walks as strikeouts since June the 15th. Pretty good. Football news. So training camp, that's happening this week around the NFL. Tre'Davious White will begin training camp on the PUP list, physically unable to perform as he continues to rehab from ACL surgery this past season.
Yeah.
And lastly, in injury news, Sylvia Fowles is back on the shelf.
Hey, Big Sil.
Yeah, she was held out of the Lynx game last night with a right knee injury. So
just get ready for the postseason.
Keep your they got away. No,
they're not good.
No, they're 10-19.
Yeah, okay, never mind.
Yeah, just look, she's getting been in the league a while. Injuries happen this time.
Yes.
Keep you updated on that. Though, right knee injury. She has a right knee. Does Sylvia?
She got a knee?
A right knee.
Right. Big Sil.
That's
you hate to hear when someone's got a knee, especially when it's a right knee.
Right knee.
It's almost as bad as when you got a foot.
Yes. Or a right foot.
But not nearly as bad as when you got an ACL.
That's always bad.
If you have an ACL, it's going to be bad.
That's Tigers in the Pros.
I mean, you'd rather have a neck than an ACL. Actually, I don't think so. I think I'd rather an ACL than a neck.
Like you're talking broken neck?
Oh, no, just a neck.
Okay.
Like an ACL. Yeah, you need a neck. Keeps everything aligned.
Do.
Yeah, you need a neck. Just like you need to go to Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Gentlemen, if you're going to pop the question, Lee Michaels has been helping Baton Rouge get engaged for more than 40 years. LMFJ.com. 2 locations in Baton Rouge, corporate in Bocage, and in the Mall of Louisiana. 9 locations in all. So find that location even outside of Baton Rouge near you at LMFJ.com. LMFJ.com. Thrill her with a beautiful diamond that will make you a hero. Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. LMFJ.com. All right, hour number 3 coming up right after SportsCenter.
AFR.
Interest rates have been on the rise, but that doesn't mean you're out of luck. GMFS Mortgage can help. If it's home buy, refi, construction loans, they can help you at GMFS Mortgage. Maybe a cash-out refinance is the best option for you right now. Take some of your home's equity, take that out to do that home improvement project. Maybe you've been wanting to remodel the kitchen. Go do a cash-out refinance where you can use your home's equity to do that project, and our friends at GMFS Mortgage can show you how. Maybe you're looking to buy that first home or move into a bigger home as your family grows. GMFS Mortgage. They want to be your lender for life. Erica and I have already been through that process multiple times. Buying our first home, when Drew came along, buying our second home, and then a year ago when rates were really, really low, refinancing that mortgage. GMFS Mortgage, our lender for life, was there for all of it, just like they can be for you. GMFSmortgage.com. That's GMFS Mortgage. Changing lives.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $10,000 off MSRP on all new 2022 Ram Black Widow trucks in stock. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty and free delivery. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou is going to do right by you.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
It's no secret, the best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Add the Celtics to the list of emerging teams engaged in talks on a possible deal for Nets megastar Kevin Durant, according to ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski, as KD's trade request approaches week number 4. Boston considers all-NBA forward Jason Tatum off limits in any trade talks, but is able to construct a package for Durant that could include Jaylen Brown and as many as 3 unprotected first-round picks and 2 pick swaps. Other teams with varying degrees of interest in Durant: Heat, Suns, and Raptors. There should be more, though, than that, in the opinion of ESPN NBA analyst Mark Jackson.
He's an incredible all-time great talent. Obviously, he's a home run hitter when it matters most, a guy you can get the basketball to, and he can carry you. So I think that every team should be on the phone putting forth their best package possible to get Kevin Durant in their uniform.
Mark Jackson on Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max. Mariners all-star rookie outfielder Julio Rodriguez out again tonight against the Rangers because of an injured left wrist. An MRI showed bruising, but no structural damage in that wrist.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. If you're a renter, make sure you're protected. Renter's insurance includes options that cover stolen property, personal injury, and living expenses if your place is damaged. Quote Renter's Insurance at Progressive.com.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios.
That's right.
Hour 3, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR presented by Relief Windows. I'm Matt.
This is Shaq O'Neal, and I hate Matt.
Paul O'Neal.
They're chanting Paul O'Neal's name.
Me so. And Mr. Toby Tom Blake. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. 5 o'clock quitting time. Glad you are driving home with us. Mr. Taylor Jacobs, LSU compliance coordinator, was here 1 hour ago. 30 minutes from right now, Mike Triplett will be with us. He's got a great Saints training camp preview up right now at ESPN.com. All the news and notes that you need about Saints training camp, as the Hootats are about 48 hours away from hitting the practice field. They'll be there on Wednesday, less than 48 hours, in fact. LSU, in turn, will follow suit on August the 4th, hitting training camp. We'll get to that in just a quick second, as LSU's got some big ifs that they're staring in the face. We'll talk about in just a quick second. Big news over the weekend, if you missed it, though, Tayvion Galloway, 4-star tight end for the class of 2024. He's a top 150 player nationally, number 1 player in the state of Ohio. He committed to LSU over the weekend. This is how it sounded when Galloway did, in fact, commit to the Tigers.
On June 17th, I became the first commit of the 2024 class, and I'm sorry to make it public now. With that being said, I will be playing for a team that I look to win multiple SEC titles and national championships with in the near future, and that is the Louisiana State University.
So
Go Tigers.
He made that commitment back in June, and it went public with it just over the weekend. And if you missed the full statement on it, we talked about it in hour number 1. We get that up on the After Further Review LSU YouTube channel with my full commentary on it. But ultimately, I think it's big for a couple of reasons. Number 1, obviously, Brian Kelly has been so good at recruiting and developing tight ends. You got Mac Markway in the 2023 class, now Galloway for 2024. Also, Denbrock was recruiting Galloway at Cincinnati, so you continue to use the big, wide recruiting net that you have from the staff you've assembled. And let's be honest, LSU's tight end room right now is one of the weakest spots on the roster. That's no discredit to any of the guys in that room, but it's been a spot where you've missed on some guys. Obviously, Eric Gilbert leaving the program hurt, but You've got a former walk-on who was a high school quarterback. You've got a former baseball player who was a medical retiree. You've got a grad transfer from North Carolina A&T. You got a true freshman in Mason Taylor. And then you've got Cole Taylor, whose career is probably best known for his shoe being thrown. You just don't have a lot there right now. But you're building there, which is very important. Again, so we'll get if you want, you can always catch AFR On Demand. By the way, you get on the mic real quick. A lot of people have asked about AFR On Demand, the podcast not being posted. So they have been, and they've been live on Spotify, but give us an update on what's going on there.
Yeah, so it's just the Apple. It's not showed up on Apple Podcasts. There's multiple people here working on that and kind of have been for nonstop at least 3 straight days communicating with both our host that we use to post it and Apple themselves. So working to get that resolved. But in the meantime, as you said, it's on Spotify. It's on the 1045ESPN.com website, just like it used to always be, like when that was the primary thing. So there are various ways to still find it. And as soon as we have a better update, we'll pass it along.
Cool. So thank you. So a lot of people have asked. So if you want to listen to AFR On Demand where the hours are posted individually, it's a lot. They've been updated on Spotify. It's just been a problem with Apple over the last week or so, and working on it. So go to Spotify or 1045ESPN.com, and you can listen on demand. Of course, AFR On Demand, presented by Brett Golf. By the way, drove Santa Maria yesterday. Course is in gorgeous condition. If you want to go play, book your tee time today, golf.breck.org. So LSU is going to open up camp on August the 4th, and I found this interesting today. Sometimes, I don't know if you agree, I sometimes find it interesting to see what public opinion is and how it compares or contrasts to Vegas's opinion. Because, obviously, what's the old adage, they build the big shiny buildings in the desert because they're right, sort of thing. Well, ESPN.com today listed 20 programs that they felt had a shot at winning a national championship this year. And LSU was one of them, no spoiler there. But it was basically framed under the context of the ifs. How many ifs do you have? Like every program, every team has certain questions going into the year. Even Alabama. You return Bryce Young, you got Nick Saban, you got Will Anderson at defensive end. You got amazing talent. No one's going to deny that. But you also lost your top 3 receivers from a year ago. Someone has to step up there. You also are going to be really young at cornerback. Now, Elias Rick steps in, and I think he's going to be amazing. I don't think that's that big of a question, but everybody has their question. So the way they broke it down was like, if you have 1 if or 2 ifs, 3 ifs, 4 ifs, 5 ifs. And what was interesting is so LSU is one of the teams they list as having 5 big questions, 5 ifs. But LSU in Vegas is plus 5,000. Well, Notre Dame has those same odds to win the national championship, yet they only have 3 big questions for Notre Dame. So that's a discrepancy there where the subjective opinion of the author here, it does not align with what Vegas says. Objectively, it's Bill Connolly, by the way, at ESPN, who did the piece. So Bill Connolly lists LSU among the teams with 5 big ifs. Yet there's programs with much worse odds sandwiching LSU. Texas, for whatever it's worth, is plus 4,000 to win the national championship. They're also one of the 5 ifs teams. But here's what they listed, and this is why I bring it up, because they don't actually list the thing that I think are the biggest questions that LSU faces this year. Number 1 is if this much change can produce a contender. Obviously, we know LSU brought in 15 transfers. You could start 5 transfers on offense, including quarterback, potentially with Jaden Daniels. You could start up to 6 transfers on defense, including your entire secondary with Brooks and Fouché and whoever wins the 2 starting quarterback jobs and the nickel job. So, yes, a lot of new people, and it was needed, but can you win with that much turnover? The big if that I do agree with on here is if a star quarterback emerges, if Brennan becomes a star, if Jaden Daniels, you can recapture some of the magic that he had as a freshman at Arizona State, couple that with the talent he'll have at LSU surrounding him and all that experience, that could make it really spectacular. They mentioned, if another offensive star emerges aside from Kayshon Boutte, if the secondary is as good as it looks, mentioning Jark Bernard-Converse, who was all Big 12, Seven Banks, who was a starter at Ohio State, Mekhi Gardner, who looks like a pterodactyl and was a starter at ULL, Fouché and Brooks, who have had so much experience in the SEC, can they translate? And then if the run defense gets better. Surprisingly, as good as we all have talked about this LSU defense being, we don't talk very much about how much, the defensive line, how much they struggled a year ago. They were 70th in rushing success rate allowed last year. Now, and you had guys like Neil Farrell and Glenn Logan. You had more veteran guys on that defense, and Mason Smith and Jaquelin Roy and Jacobian Guillory and Ali Gay and B.J. Ojolari. So the same guys were hyping up this year. You had them and veteran players like Logan and Farrell, and they were 70th in rushing success rate. I think this is a really talented athletic defensive line, and they're going to generate they're going to create a lot of havoc. I think they're going to create TFLs. They're going to generate big sack numbers. How do they do against the run? That is let's jot that one down and see how it compares. I think they're going to be very good, to be clear. But it is something that's worth mentioning. To me, the biggest question of all of these, the one that I would agree with, is quarterback. In order to be a legit contender, one of those quarterbacks has to emerge and be great. That goes without saying. I also agree in the secondary. You got a lot of guys who have played. Can they gel? Sure. I don't know how that conversation doesn't start with the offensive line. You were objectively not good there a year ago, and you lose 4 of your 5 starters. The one starter returning is Cam Wire. He may not even be a starter on this team. We rolled through and went through our offensive line previews. If you missed that, you can catch it on the AFR YouTube channel when we went position by position. But LSU has 10 offensive linemen on this team. 10 that have started a game. There's 2 ways to look at that. Hey, man, you got a lot of guys who have played. True. Or you got 10 guys that have started. Nobody's solidified a job. So there's 2 sides of that coin. How does that work out? Can Brad Davis find his best 5 and have them come together and work really well together in concert? If so, then you generate good rushing lanes for your talented runners. You keep your quarterback upright to get the ball to the playmakers, and I think this offense can churn. But to me, aside from quarterback, which is obvious, the biggest question on this team is the offensive line. It's the biggest question on the team. We all agree defense is going to be solid to good. You got good skill players. You got a question at quarterback, but you have options. What you don't know is your offensive line. And you got to answer that. To me, that is the single biggest if, and I can't believe it wasn't listed on this list of ifs for LSU heading into this season. Let me know if you got a thought. You can always email me, tweet me, text me in the 225-396-4400, 396-4400. Save that number in your phone. That's the text line. It's on my phone at any point if you ever want to text me during the show or whenever. 225-396-4400, 396-4400. Yes, it's me, and yes, I actually do reply. 396-4400. That's how you can get us on the text line. All right, it's After Further Review. Monday show is brought to you by Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com, 288-8138 or ReliefWindows.com. Quick break. We'll come back, get some of your interaction. There's the future of NFL television broadcasting. There's an update I want to get to, and Mike Triplett coming up in 17 minutes. Stick around. It's AFR.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by River City's 1 Hour Air, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime. Every single day, we're hitting triple digit on the heat index. Every single day. Temperatures in the 90s, humidity heat index pushes that up. What if your AC goes out? Who can you trust? Well, you can trust River City's 1 Hour Air because they're always on time or you don't pay a dime. 752-0001, 752-0001, 752-0001, or 1hourbr.com. Read the reviews. Go to Google, go to Facebook, read the reviews. Not many companies are going to say that because the internet hates everybody and everything. Not River City's 1 Hour Air. They have more than double the amount of 5-star reviews of the next closest competitor because they've been in business for 40 years treating people great. It's the core, the center of what they do. They'll come out nights, holidays, weekends, and never charge you extra. They invest in continuing education for their technicians so you get the best result. It's River City's 1 Hour Air. 752-0001.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Is Chicago going to put a dome on Soldier Field? That's so crazy. The mayor there revealed 3 proposals for renovations to Soldier Field, trying to keep the Bears at their home where they've been for the last 50 years. At the center of the proposal is construction of a domed stadium, which would cost anywhere from $900 million to $2.2 billion. Oh, my God. By the way, let's see. The first would fully enclose the stadium by rebuilding both end zones with columns that can support a dome structure. Second would require both end zones be rebuilt with columns to make the stadium dome ready. And the third would call for modifications to make Soldier Field a multi-purposed stadium suited to host soccer games as well. That's interesting. So it would keep they would basically be adding a dome to the structure that currently exists. So weird. Yeah, that place is just a hellhole. I mean, I had one experience there. It was 2006 for the NFC Championship game, January 2007. The fans were miserable. It was freezing cold. It snowed. The Saints lost the game. It was just a brutal experience. I can't imagine why anybody would want to be outdoors in Chicago in the winter months, or Green Bay for that matter, or any Midwestern or northern city. Minnesota did a really smart thing, building their new stadium with a dome. Hopefully, if Buffalo ever gets a new stadium, they build a dome as well. I just cannot imagine wanting to be outside when it's in the negative temperatures. But the thing about keeping the stadium there is the location's fantastic. I mean, it's right there on Lake Michigan. The convenience of the location is great. All the word is if they moved it out, they'd be moving to the burbs, which I just generally reject that. It's It's not good. I mean, the reason New Orleans is such a great host city is because everything is centrally located. Everything is walkable. And Chicago, I don't know if it's walkable right there. I mean, you got a hell of a walk, but still, you're close enough with with the stadium where it is right there. So anyway, maybe putting a dome on Soldier Field. Chicago Dome. I wonder if I guess they would keep the Soldier Field columns in place outside of the structure right now. It sounds like, doesn't it? I mean, it sounds like that's what they would do.
It does. Well, that's the thing. Like,
I'm looking at this picture.
The outside of Soldier Field is just so not aesthetically pleasing already. Like, adding a dome to it would just be even more funny.
It's so. Have you been?
I've not been. No.
So it's just so weird because, like Soldier Field is like dedicated. It's a military dedication, which is really cool. But they essentially, when they renovated it, they tore down the structure but kept all the columns around and just like built like the spaceship out of the middle of it, which it doesn't fit, right? It had to be narrow at the base and then wide as it went out to clear those columns. And now they're basically just keeping that and putting a cover on top of it, which, based on this rendering, okay. I mean, get me out of the snow, good. And maybe if these people weren't freezing their T-Heinies off, they wouldn't be such a-holes. Like, maybe part of the reason they're such gigantic a-holes is because they're freezing. And that would make a lot of people upset.
I don't think that's it.
Probably not, because I could say the same thing about Green Bay, and they're not gigantic a-holes. Maybe it's just the city of Chicago.
Probably. I think so, yeah.
That's probably what it is. All right, it's after further review. Glad to have you aboard with us. I tell you what, when I was there in Chicago in January of 2007, to see Reggie Bush take the swing pass and then go the length and flip into the end zone, I could see it then because I had contacts in, even though I was in the end zone opposite, so he was running away from me. But I probably had snow in my eyes at that time. The angry, annoying Chicago fans were probably spilling beer, and then I had to worry about getting beer into my contact lens. No more, because I had LASIK at the Williamson Eye Center. I just see 924-2020. No matter your age or your refractive issue, call the Williamson Eye Center. Dr. Blake Williamson can do for you what he did for me and what he's done for thousands of Louisianians, giving you the gift of sight without contacts or glasses. But eye care, eyewear, and eye surgery have your annual eye exam. If you do wear contacts or glasses, you can get those certainly at the Williamson Eye Center, and always eye surgery as well. You want to see 2020 without contacts or glasses, you can do it. Williamson Eye Center can help. 924-2020 or WilliamsonEYE.com. So Saints open up camp on Wednesday. Mike Triplett will be here in less than 10 minutes. Malcolm Jenkins, now retired Saints safety Malcolm Jenkins, was on the Rich Eisen show. And look, he is among the chorus of people hyping up Jameis Winston here in 2022.
I think a lot of it is going to be predicated on what Jameis can do. Because I think last year we were really excited about the team that we had. Like, our defense is the best defense I've been a part of. We had everything in place. Even with losing Drew Brees, we knew that we had some pieces. And Jameis came out playing well. And I think he's spending that time behind Drew and Sean is really understanding how to manage a game. And we saw it before he got injured. And so hopefully now it's, what does he look like when he comes back? Is he going to be that same quarterback? Is he trending in that direction? I believe so. I think he's a phenomenal leader. And I never would have said that until I got in the locker room with him. But he's somebody that I think the team gravitates around. And they already have strong leaders in place. Demario Davis, Cam Jordan. Now I'm putting Tyrann Matthews, Landry in. They've got a ton of support, veteran support, to where all of those parts won't be on Jameis. And so he can focus on his play. And I think in a situation like that, he'll have success.
Did you catch the piece in there that was the most intriguing? So it's Malcolm Jenkins, okay? That's a guy who was drafted in the first round by the Saints, won a Super Bowl as a rookie in New Orleans, became a great safety, goes to Philly, becomes a team leader there, wins a Super Bowl there, comes back to New Orleans, becomes one of the most respected players among his peers in the NFL. And of Jameis Winston, he said, I'm paraphrasing, maybe you can go highlight it, Muse, but he said that Jameis is a great leader. I wouldn't have thought that before he was in the locker room. Essentially, watching from afar, seeing the eating a W and throwing the interception, all like, wouldn't have thought Jameis is a great leader, but being in the locker room with him made him a believer. And that's coming from a guy who's retired, has nothing to gain or lose by saying it, and has always been really respected among his peers and being really candid. Malcolm Jenkins. When has Malcolm Jenkins ever, held his tongue about anything. I thought that was maybe the most impactful part of anything Malcolm Jenkins said there was validating Jameis Winston the way he did. So I'm as interested as any. You have it? Yeah, listen again.
I think he's a phenomenal leader, and I never would have said that until I got in the locker room with him.
How about that? What an amazing soundbite right there from Malcolm Jenkins about Jameis Winston. By the way, we're going to get Mike Triplett on here in about 5 minutes. I have to ask you a question. And I was reminded of this when we were at Media Days. Last year at Media Days, I made a bet. Have I talked about the bet, the push-up bet here? Okay. So yes. Last year at Media Days, I was on with my friends from 1010XL in Jacksonville, Frank Frangie and Lauren Brooks. And they do a wonderful job. Like, I respect them both tremendously. As people, as broadcasters, they're awesome. Well, Lauren, so we talked to LSU, Florida stuff, and then we also talked, I think, probably LSU had a run of players going to Jacksonville. Fournette, Shark, so they would ask me about the Caleb on Chasson. Yeah. So they would ask me about the LSU guys, right? Well, we ended up talking about the Saints and with Jameis. And Lauren was poo-pooing Jameis and was like, he won't make it through the season. Well, Lauren's also she's into fitness and all sort of stuff. So we made a push-up bet and she said Jameis would not keep the starting job to the halfway point of the season this past year in 2021. And the loser, and I said he'd be the quarterback all season. The loser would have to do 50 push-ups. So on a technicality, Jameis didn't make it to the halfway point because he tore his ACL in week 7. Yes. But the Saints were 5-2. There is no chance Jameis was getting benched. Agreed?
No, that's fair, yeah.
There was no shot. They were not benching him for Taysom or for Simeon, and they were 5-2. He was getting better even as the season went along. And, by the way, Lauren was not in Atlanta this week, but she was back in Jacksonville and on with Frank, and he brought this up, and she maintained she won the bet.
Yeah.
I'm like, whoa. I am so disappointed in you, Lauren Brooks. I was so disappointed because and you know me, I would never run away from a bet if I lose.
Yes.
Right? I am that guy. I lost a bet with Hester on Ty Davis-Price that I didn't even remember, but he reminded me of it. In the hallway, we made a bet. I didn't think Ty Davis-Price would get drafted. He did. TDP went round 3. Friggin' awesome. I owed Hester a bottle of whiskey. He loves Jameson. Got him that. And I bought him a custom decanter and glass set with his name and initial in it and all that sort of stuff. Okay? I will pay up a bet if I lose. I know Dwayne from Thibodeau. No punk little you-know-what running away from your bets that you make. So if I really legitimately thought I lost his bet, I'd tell you straight up. They even re-signed Jameis another year.
Yeah.
He's back.
If anything, it's void. I think you probably won.
Of course I won.
Because, they were even taking the reins off of him a little bit before he got hurt.
What I really want to do is I want to go back and find the audio from when I was on with them to see if we had a stipulation for injury. I don't remember, but I need to go dig into the archives at 1010XL in Jacksonville. If someone wants to go find it, help me out. Last summer, Media Days, Matt Moscona on 1010XL in Jacksonville with Frank Frangie and Lauren Brooks. We've made our push-up bet there. If you want to help me out, try to find it, I'd be indebted. By the way, I just looked on Twitter. Today is Lauren Brooks' birthday. So if y'all want to go blow her up on Twitter, wish her happy birthday and say she owes me 50 push-ups. She's at 1010XL Lauren. At 1010XL Lauren. 1010XL Lauren. 1010XL Lauren. I'm so disappointed in you, Lauren Brooks. But I wish you a happy birthday. You're one of my favorites. Okay. Mike Triplett next.
AFR.
Love telling you about Clegg's Nursery. 4 locations in the greater Baton Rouge area. Seagan near Airline, LA 16 in Denham, Mid-City on Donmore, and the Garden Center on Greenwell Springs. Tell you every day, buy local, shop local. You know where to find them at Clegg's Nursery. Full greenhouse is a great way to add that pop of color to your outdoor area. The flower beds, the patio pots, or maybe you want some outdoor decor. They've got tuned wind chimes. Beautiful to add some elegance and ambiance to your outdoor spaces. If it's statues or garden flags, doormats, they got it all at Clegg's Nursery. And at Clegg's, they're partnered with True Value Hardware Store. So whatever you'd find at a True Value Hardware Store, you'll also find at Clegg's Nursery. They've even got like Melissa and Doug toys for the kids. So you can shop, and if the kids are driving you nuts, let them go play with the toys. They've got the Mrs. Meyer's organic home cleaning products as well. It's at Clegg's Nursery. Buy local. Tell you every day. Shop local, buy local at Clegg's Nursery. Clegg's Nursery.
For over 53 years, customers have been heading to Happy Town for the Corval Toyota experience. Why? Because they choose to get an outstanding price and amazing customer service. Want the same and get treated like family? Then Corval Toyota in Opelousas is the dealership for you. Corval vehicles have been cruising around Acadiana for 5 decades. Corval Toyota is here to stay, and we want to keep you rolling. So come on down to Happy Town. That's Corval Toyota in Opelousas, Happy Town, USA.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
And this year, 2022, it's time to finally treat yourself. Bring your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service. You want the latest and greatest marine technology? You want to go to the place that has not one, but 2 NMEA certified techs. Family owned and operated by the Sherman family for 30 years. Front to Back is the answer in Baton Rouge for all of your custom boat needs. So head to fronttobackboatservice.com or find them on Facebook, Front to Back Boat Service.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
My own people call me an Uncle Tom. I play music. Been wined and dined by royalty. Trying to bring people together. All people. But regardless of all that kind of stuff, I'm still Louis Armstrong.
Here's the man you're waiting for, the king of jazz, Louis Satchmo Armstrong.
Vizzy, the first hard seltzer with antioxidant vitamin C. It just hits different. Vizzy.
Thank you, far too kind. Yeah. Ready? Let's go. Can I get an encore? Do you want more? Cook and roll with the Brooklyn boys. So for one last time.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
We are joined right now as the Saints are 2 days away from the start of training camp by ESPN NFL Nation reporter. Cover the Saints, Mike Triplett, good friend of the show. Mike, how are you?
Doing well. How you doing, Matt?
Fantastic, but I think I cannot introduce you as such for much longer. What's going on, man?
Mystery. I can't announce that on your show.
Well, we did learn today.
What are you trying to do here?
What we did learn today is that so Kat Terrell announced that she's going to be the new Saints NFL Nation reporter.
Yeah, for a while we will team up here in the coming weeks, so you will get better ESPN Saints coverage than any other team in the league with both of us.
Awesome.
Handling that transition. But obviously, obviously bittersweet to leave the job. I've done it for 9 years, but really glad that I could be leaving it in better hands with Catherine. I'm really glad that timing worked out the way it did.
Yeah, she's fantastic. And we'll look forward to your news whenever you are able to share it. In the meantime, the Saints will hit the practice field on Wednesday. You have a piece up right now at ESPN.com, the biggest Saints camp storylines. I actually want to ask your opinion on something Malcolm Jenkins said on the Rich Eisen show. We just played it for our audience, but he essentially said that he's sold on Jameis as a leader because of what he saw in the clubhouse, and he wouldn't have thought that. He was very candid. He said, I wouldn't have thought that until I was on the team with him. Mike, best you can tell, is this team in lockstep behind Jameis Winston as their guy?
Yeah, I think so. Look, even the year he backed up Drew Brees, and he had been around for just a matter of weeks, and we were doing like the first reporting and stories on him that summer. The first thing everybody said, big smile on their face, what a great teammate he is, how infectious he is. Sean Payton, if you find anything he's ever said about Jameis Winston, like why they signed him, why they liked him, why they re-signed him, it was always two things: arm talent and leadership. The personality, the charisma, sometimes it's really like over the top, and I don't mean that in a negative way, but it's all so. His enthusiasm really is infectious. And I'm not surprised at all. People say the funny thing is there's so many guys on this team that when you ask them a question about Jameis, the first thing they do is break out laughing. Like he just puts people in a mood. It's really funny, and that part has always been true with him since he was here, and that the stories with him in Tampa were that way too. No one has ever questioned anything about his commitment to being great, his commitment to being a great teammate. Obviously, any question about him has to do with how high his ceiling is, how low his floor is. But I think he's in a better position to succeed here with the Saints this season than he ever has been probably in his career.
And we also know at this point that Jameis is healthy. The big question going into camp is about everyone else with all these injuries. Best you can tell, how healthy are the Saints with some of their more well-known injuries going into camp?
Well, it's what I wrote about in that piece you talked about earlier. In one of the categories they had us choose from was training camp will be a success, yeah, and that's the one. Nobody's healthy. Nobody's ever going to be fully healthy. The Saints are going to have injuries this year. They're going to have a rash. There's going to be 1 week where 7 guys are down. So there's no such thing as perfect health. If any team in the league gets there, they're probably going to have a great season. So I don't want to be generic with it, but it's so true with the Saints. There are so many big. We think Michael Thomas is getting close. We know Jameis Winston's getting close. We hope Marcus Davenport's getting close. We know Peyton Turner's getting close. We think Marcus May is getting close. Taysom Hill's supposed to be close. But that is a lot of names that we need to see it. We need to know that these guys are all going to get enough training camp and preseason time to be full contributors by week 1. And if that's true and this team just has the normal amount of injuries instead of what we witnessed last year, it's going to be a pretty loaded lineup. And actually one of my, the bold prediction I almost went with is that the Saints are going to become a real buzzy team by the end of the month. I think if we're seeing all those guys on the field in glimpses and preseason games and training camp highlights, people are going to be like, man, I kind of forgot how much talent is on that New Orleans team because people have just been thinking about what they lost this offseason.
He's on Twitter at Mike Triplett. Go read the camp preview up at ESPN.com. One thing you didn't write about, though, Mike, as best as I can remember, was the running back spot. Do you think they're still going to add a running back as best they've tried so far in this offseason?
Yeah, but I think the fact that they've kicked the tires on as many guys as they have without actually signing any of them just lets you know that I think they're updating their ready list. And I think that makes that approach makes sense at that position because, unfortunately for the running backs in the NFL, that is a position where you can kind of wait till September. And if you need a guy, that's a pretty impressive list of guys who are still looking for work. The one that comes to mind to me last year was the Ravens, who kept signing the Saints cast-offs. They were like, okay, we'll take Latavius Murray. All right, we'll take Devontae Freeman.
Murray, present.
That caliber of player is available in the NFL because that position the veterans get kind of tossed aside at that position. So as long as they have Alvin Kamara and Mark Ingram and some young guys with potential, including Abram Smith and Tony Jones Jr. that they're excited about, there's no immediate need to sign a guy now. They just have to have that ready list as updated as possible in case Alvin Kamara's suspension lasts longer or in case there's an injury. And obviously there's a lot of injuries at that position. But I don't think it's a thing where, Mark Ingram is perfectly capable. If Kamara's going to miss 3 games or something like that, and they're like, all right, Mark needs to get 20 touches in 3 straight games, he's perfectly capable of doing that. We saw him go over 100 yards twice last year after he joined the thing.
Mike, you mentioned Abram Smith. Other rookies you're interested in? Let me say, aside from Chris Olave, I mean, I think the first pick is always something. We're always going to be interested. But other rookies you're interested in watching, even the UDFAs?
Yeah, I mean, obviously we're a little more intrigued by the skill position players, and they're a little easier to see until we get into actual preseason games with live tackling and things like that. So it's, hard to say. Any of the UDFAs that I know a lot of people are probably excited to see if Smoke Monday, how he'll do, and then obviously Alontae Taylor as a second-round pick in the most crowded position suddenly on this team. When I had to do my 53-man roster projection, I also wanted to put Bryce Thompson on there, which I did because he made the team last year, but he also had a really impressive stretch during OTAs and minicamp. But I was at 12, 13, 14 DBs. So I would say that is an area where I would be really excited and say they've got a couple undrafted rookies that can make the team, but I also think that's the one where the jobs are going to be the hardest to come by.
What about help at tight end? Is there help on the horizon, or are they content with the group they got?
Well, neither.
Okay.
They're not content with the group that they got. That wouldn't be the right way to put it, but it's very similar to what I just said at running back. There's not an obvious upgrade out there. I mean, Adam Trautman is going to be their lead tight end this year, and he's going to be on the field a ton because he's a really, really good blocker. And I think he will develop a little bit more as a pass catcher. I mean, how can he not? There's only one direction he can go in that area. And Jawan Johnson will probably take another step forward. And Taysom Hill is going to be very involved on this team as officially a tight end, even in, though I expect we'll see him in his usual roles, running the ball and behind center on certain packages too. And obviously Nick Dennett, a veteran. So they've got the bodies. If they had decided to upgrade to a guy who could catch 80 balls a year, yeah, that would have been great. But they don't need just a warm body in that group.
He's on Twitter at Mike Triplett. Hey, before you go, I'm surprised we haven't even talked about position battles. When you have a roster that has a lot of talent, a lot of times there aren't a lot of spots up for grabs. Where do you see the roster spots that are up for grabs? Where are these position battles going to happen?
No, I mean, that's a really good point. And when I did that 53-man roster projection at the end of minicamp, like I said, I put Abram Smith on. I think he was the only undrafted rookie, but that's partly because I think he'll play a big special teams role. And to do that, I didn't have a fullback on the roster, even though they did actually use a fullback for 16 of the 17 games last year. So I'm probably going to be wrong about that. I put Bryce Thompson on there as one sort of wild card, but I didn't have room for a lot of the other wild cards I liked. And I think I was short one offensive lineman when I did it. So I could easily come up with 60 guys who I think could make this 53-man roster. Now, obviously, injuries will change that, and some guys will begin on different lists and things like that, and then some things open up. But no, this is not, it's not different than any other year here where I'm not sitting there being like, geez, how am I going to fill these last 18 spots? Who's going to fill these? It's having trouble trying to decide who's not going to make this thing.
He is Mike Triplett, ESPN.com. Camp gets underway officially on Wednesday. You can go see Mike's camp preview right now at ESPN.com. Hey, man, we always appreciate it. All the best. We'll be in touch.
All right. Thanks a lot, Matt.
Be well. That is Mike Triplett. This is After Further Review. Remind you about DraftKings, the official sports betting partner of After Further Review. And this weekend, another gigantic UFC card. It is fight week, y'all. I'm pretty fired up for it. UFC 277, Pena Nunez 2. You want to bet on it? You can do it at the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use the promo code Baton Rouge. Remember, bet on any fight at UFC 277, just $5. No matter the result, they're going to give you $100 in free bets at the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Again, bet just $5 on any fight this weekend at UFC 277, and no matter the result, they're going to give you $100 in free bets, but you have to use the promo code Baton Rouge. One word, all together, Baton Rouge. That is at the DraftKings Sportsbook app, the official sports betting partner of the UFC. It's the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Download it today. Have some fun. Get Major League Baseball action you can bet on every single day. We got Otterlocks coming up. Why don't you download the app right now? Get in on the phone with Otterlocks, as that's coming up in just a minute as well. It is the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use the promo code Baton Rouge. 21 and older, physically present in Louisiana. Availability varies by parish. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for full terms and conditions. Licensee partner Golden Nugget, Lake Charles. Gambling problem? Call 1-877-7-STOP. Speaking of the Otter, he is still where the surf meets the turf. The Otter is in beautiful Del Mar, where they had opening day on Friday, which is why he totally ghosted us, but I don't blame it. We will head out to Del Mar to get Otter Locks, find out what we're betting on tonight. When we return, it's AFR.
AFR.
Buying or selling a home, there is only one call that you need to make. It's to Darren James. 335-7666, 335-7666, or agent225.com. Agent225.com, the most user-friendly website in real estate. Go there, use it as a tool to search for that home of your dream, to get a market report. It's all right there at agent225.com. If you're buying or selling, make sure you use the easy feature tabs right there that can help you along your way. But the easiest thing to do is to just call Darren James. Call him on his cell phone, 335-7666, 335-7666, or agent225.com. There's a reason Darren James is on the Wall Street Journal's list of the top 1% of realtors in America. One phone call and you'll understand why. 335-7666 or online at agent225.com.
Think real estate, think Darren James.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Bayou Ford has $10,000 off new Ford F-150s. We have new 2021 F-150s on our lot now with $10,000 off MSRP. And all new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou is going to do right by you.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust poll of the day. Vote daily inside, off the bench, Hunt and Hill, the early line. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the poll of the day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Down the stretch, we come final segment here on a Monday edition of AFR, presented by Relief Windows. One thing left to do. Let's find out what we're betting on tonight. Time for Otterlocks.
Otterlocks, presented by Workbox Services. For over 20 years, Baton Rouge's leader on on-site construction, industrial, and residential services.
So we turn to the one and only, the incomparable and often incomprehensible, the Ott father himself, Jimmy Ott. Otter, how are you?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Before we get into this, and I don't want to rush, but let me pass this along about roster services on Thursday, please. Invitation this Thursday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. at Whitfield Funeral Home, 7221 Plank Road. That is 7221 Plank Road, Winfield Funeral Home. This Thursday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. The interment at 2 p.m. at Louisiana National Cemetery, 303 West Mount Pleasant Road in Zachary. Charlie and I will repeat it later, but I know we have some crossover on audiences, so just wanted to pass that along.
And I know it's on it's on Jimmy's Facebook page as well. And for those that haven't heard, I didn't know if you wanted to mention it, Otter, but I was going to leave it to you. Roscoe, of course, was a mainstay, a staple on Jimmy's show for 20 years. Lost his battle with cancer over the weekend, and our sincere condolences, man. I know you and I texted over the weekend, but wanted to express that to everyone who knew him well.
Man, I mean, it helps, man. So many people have reached out. Good. I mean, you have no idea. So, really good, man. So, wanted to pass that along. So we get back to work on, and how about the Houston Astros, huh? I mean, they are just. How about them? I mean, they beat the Yankees in the doubleheader. They go to the hottest team in Seattle and win by the run line every time. Jordan Alvarez, a big reason why stop now, especially when you have this pitching matchup tonight in Oakland. Odorizzi, he's been really good, minus that Kansas City appearance where he just didn't have anything bad. But -1.5, -132. Not sure what you have currently.
I'm looking at 130.
Oakland, horrible lineup and a rough pitcher as well. So Oler has improved a little bit, but still over 10 games, 0-3 record, 8.56 ERA. So continuing to ride the Houston Astros. I'm going to take the San Francisco Giants at a short price against Arizona here. I know San Francisco is a little bruised up mentally after getting pounded by the Dodgers this past weekend. But Paul Junis has been okay. 5-week layoff. He only had 2 innings pitched last time, but they're going to stretch him out a little bit more this time. And I think he's been pretty good this year. Solid numbers overall. For Gilbert in Arizona, not so much. In 7 appearances, he struggled mightily. So taking San Francisco in that one.
That's money line? And I'm looking at Merrill Kelly pitching for the Diamondbacks. Does that change anything?
Even better. If that's the case, you got me looking it up as we speak, but I'll continue.
Go ahead.
All right, it is Junis. I'm looking at still at Jacob Junis.
Junis for the Giants. I'm sorry, Kelly for the Diamondbacks.
Yes. Oh, okay. Oh, so Kelly instead of Gilbert.
Right.
And then yes, that does change things. Okay. Thank you, Matthew. It takes a village.
Wait, so are we not playing the Diamondbacks?
Yeah. No, we're scratching the Giants.
Damn it. I already got my bet in. Damn it.
You got a cash out option?
All right. Well, thank you. I'll note it. Let me see if they'll let me do it. All right, go ahead. We got about a minute. Go ahead.
Buddy Dave Koken, he likes first 5 -1/2. If you're not that option -1/2 for the first 5,
1 minute remaining.
You go to a 3-way option this team winning, or tied. You take that team winning. It's minus $1.25. Milwaukee, first 5 minus a half. Okay. And I have one more for you. I'm going with the Atlanta Braves and Freed over Suarez, minus 1.5 run line on that one, basically even money.
All right, Game Time with Jimmy Ott follows us. Handy's in for you?
Yes, indeed. Yep, Handy and I'll be with him for the first 2 segments, and then he'll do his thing from there on.
Where the surf meets the turf.
Good day last day. Good day. Finished with an 18-1 shot. That's me.
Otter, we'll look forward to seeing you back soon, man.
Okay, buddy. Thank you, man.
All right, that is Jimmy Ott. Game Time with Jimmy Ott follows us in Baton Rouge. If you're not in Baton Rouge, online at 1045ESPN.com. You should learn anything today?
LSU did a horrible job concealing the Pete Maravich statue.
But we're out of time. See you tomorrow.
AFR.
As we get on down the road, remind you about the aesthetic medicine and anti-aging clinics of Louisiana. Bluebonnet in Baton Rouge, Ambassador Caffrey in Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com, theantiagingclinics.com. If you want to look and feel like your younger self, they can help at the aesthetic medicine and anti-aging clinics of Louisiana. I can tell you all the time, hormone replacement therapy, simple blood test can let you know if you're a candidate. So many times you don't know how bad you feel until you start feeling good again. It's safe. It's affordable. It's at the aesthetic medicine and anti-aging clinics of Louisiana, I'm telling you. Just set that consultation, do the blood test, go meet with Dr. Howell. Let him tell you if he could put together a plan to help you feel like your younger self. Wake up in the morning with more energy. Sleep better at night. Have more effective workouts with results. Burn stubborn fat. It's possible. The aesthetic medicine and anti-aging clinics of Louisiana. TheAntiAgingClinics.com.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
For over 53 years, customers have been heading to Happy Town for the Corval Toyota experience. Why? Because they choose to get an outstanding price and amazing customer service. Want the same and get treated like family? Then Corval Toyota in Opelousas is the dealership for you. Corval vehicles have been cruising around Acadiana for 5 decades. Corval Toyota is here to stay, and we want to keep you rolling. So come on down to Happy Town. That's Corval Toyota in Opelousas. Happy Town, USA.
Dad!
Kids have staked out their place at Auctioner Medical Complex The Grove, where more than 30 pediatricians and pediatric specialists are all conveniently located under one roof, so you can spend less time driving and more time keeping your kids well.
Yes!
It's no wonder kids call dibs at The Grove. Auctioner Health Center for Children.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks